All right, brake tapping already underway, but it is really slow go east and westbound 40 between the Eastern Split and downtown, and then 440 eastbound between 65 and 24. 24 eastbound, brake tapping all the way down to Harding Place before you get back up to speed. Right now, 65 is looking good northbound up to 440. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's a drone. But whose drone is it? That seems to be the big question that is just baffling everyone. It's baffling the FBI. It's baffling the military. It's baffling law enforcement. And Congress wants answers, and the people of New Jersey and the American people want to know what is that thing up in the air. I mean, it's flying over sensitive military installations. It's flying over a home that is owned by Donald Trump. And there are a bunch of them. And we're not talking little toy, hobbyist drones. We're talking about military-grade drones. They, according to one report, they say one is as large as an SUV. We're not talking about, lightweight toys here. We're talking about serious military-grade drones, apparently. And where are they coming from? Nobody seems to know. The governor of New Jersey.
These are apparently as I understand it, very sophisticated. The minute you get eyes on them, they go dark. We're obviously most concerned about sensitive targets and sensitive critical infrastructure. So we've got military assets, we've got utility assets, we've got the president-elect's one of his homes here.
I mean, there was one report this morning from Congressman Van Drew who said, look, I've got really good information that says these are being flown off of an Iranian ship off the East Coast. These are Iranian drones.
Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the East Coast of the United States of America. The sources I have are good. They can't reveal who they are because they are speaking to me in confidentiality. These drones should be shot down. Whether it was some crazy hobbyist that we can't imagine or whether it is Iran, and I think it very possibly could be, they should be shot down.
Yeah, they should be shot down. Okay, so there's one problem. The Pentagon says, well, no evidence is coming from a foreign adversary. And then they said succinctly,
there is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States.
Bing, bing, bong, boom. So that says, what? Are they right? I mean, I don't know. But they can't tell you what they are. They just tell you what they're not, apparently. Big hearing on Capitol Hill yesterday. Representative Robert Pfluger was talking to the Assistant FBI Director, Robert Wheeler, about this.
What is going on in New Jersey?
Sir, the FBI and our Newark field office, along with the state and local partners there, the Bureau is actively investigating the situation you mentioned, just the unexplained sighting of drone activity over that part of New Jersey, including proximity to sensitive sites and areas of concern. So we do not attribute that to an individual or a group yet. We're investigating, but I don't have an answer of who's responsible for that, of one or more people that are responsible for those drone flights, but we're actively investigating. It is concerning.
Is the public at risk? Is public safety at risk? Are we concerned that there are nefarious intentions that could cause either national security or a public safety incident that would put Americans at risk?
There's nothing that is known that would lead me to say that, but we just don't know, and that's the concerning part.
Why can't we take action against these drones that are flying over sensitive sites?
For securing those particular sites in this way, it is a DOD equity.
It's the DOD. The DOD's, you're going to bring in, an F-16 or something and shoot these things down over New Jersey? That would go well, where it falls to the people below. What is amazing is that our government, even though drones have been around for a while and they have gotten increasingly more sophisticated, we don't really have a lot of ability to take them out without, perhaps, a little collateral damage. This is like the Chinese spy balloon in some ways. In that case, it was just wafting away, but it was apparently a steerable balloon that lingered over some sensitive military installations all across the country before it exited out to the East Coast and was shot down by the military. I mean, they have to wait till it gets out over the ocean to shoot it down. They don't want it to fall on somebody. This is not the first round of drones. There have been drone reports over military bases on the East Coast now for some time. There was a whole bunch of them about a year ago that the military never did figure. They were flying over a base that contained F-22s, for goodness sakes. And nobody seems to know where they came from. Nobody seems to know who was flying the drones. Nobody seemed to be able to do anything about it. And they say, well, we don't detect them to be a threat, but if they can fly into our airspace with impunity, and what's to say that they couldn't be weaponized? God forbid, but I mean, it wouldn't be that difficult, I would imagine. It is a real quantity. Let me just do this. Many people out there's a lot of people been thinking about this. Maybe you have a theory. 615-737-9986. What do you think is going on here? What would you like to see happen? It's, I think, pretty embarrassing, quite frankly, that we don't have the ability to determine where these drones are coming from. Law enforcement completely, unable to do anything about it. FBI, you just heard the guy say, the assistant director of the FBI says, we don't know what they are. We got no clue what they are. That the military, they'll tell you there's no Iranian ship off the coast that is launching drones, but they don't tell you what they are. A lot of people telling you what they aren't, but won't tell you what they are. Representative Tony Gonzalez of Texas.
I did have a conversation this morning with a high-level law enforcement official where we talked about the possibility of a mothership being there with the drones. I think the fact that we don't have definitive answers is worrisome. Sitting on the Appropriations Committee, I often ask, where is our money going? And then the other question is, if we don't know the answers, why? And when I got a response yesterday that said, the FBI only has a budget of $500,000 and Customs and Border Protection only has a budget of $0 for counter drones, this is a problem. And these threats are very real. Here we have, it's not as if a what if could happen to President Trump. This has already happened, and other threats have been circulated. The Iranians are surely always up to no good. It's just we have to keep our eye on the ball. And ultimately, the American people deserve to know what is happening, where their taxpayers' dollars going, and if they're not getting answers, well, how do we put resources towards making sure law enforcement has every instrument possible to keep us safe, and also, more important, probably ultimately important, keep the President of the United States or the incoming President of the United States, Trump, equally as safe.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very good point. I mean, that the Customs and Border Patrol people don't have any counter-drone technology. Okay, to the phone lines we go. David out on I-24. David, what do you think is going on here?
Hey, Brian. So, it's not even a matter of shooting it down. I'm just appalled by the fact that they say they don't know where they're. You saying we can't send up a helicopter or some aircraft to just follow them back to where they go? I mean, don't worry about shooting them down. Just follow them. Is it that hard to do?
Yeah, I don't know. It would seem to me that it would be, pretty easy to trace them back, except that I think that what I'm being told is that they have the ability to go dark. I mean, you heard the governor of New Jersey say that, they're flying along and you can see them, and all of a sudden they just go dark. And so how do you track something that doesn't have any lights flying at night? But I mean, you ought to be able to, have some technology, some radar capability, something that could track these things. Thank you for the call, David. Terry, what is your thought here, Terry? You got any theory?
Yeah, well, as far as a theory, no, but I can tell you this. I had to go work on a military base one time as a civilian. I had to go through background checks and all that kind of stuff to even get on the base. And then once I did, it was an Air Force base, so it's like they had a fence, and it says, if you cross this line, you'll be shot. Then questions will be asked. So I guess I just don't understand why we're not shooting these things down, and then somebody's going to say, no, wait a minute, why are you shooting my drones down? I mean, why are we allowing it to fly over our country or anywhere and taking pictures or do anything? It ought to be shot down and then questions asked.
Yeah, in the case in Virginia, the drones flew over a very sensitive military base there that had F-22s for like a month, about a year ago. I think it was last December. A month. And they knew it. It became a regular thing, and they did little to nothing about it. And that's a problem as far as I'm concerned. Rick in Watertown, you're up next on the drive. What's your thought, Rick?
I'd be willing to bet after Mr. Trump is inaugurated, they will stop one way or the other.
And why do you feel that way?
Hey, he ain't going to put up much crap.
All right. Thank you, Rick. I greatly appreciate it. Dave in Hendersonville, you're up next on the drive. What is your theory? You got any idea what this might be? What is your take?
Well, if they're the size of what you was just saying, some of them the size of SUVs, they can carry a lot of explosives. I think they're trying to see how close they can get, how many they can get to possibly attack us. It's awful funny. They say, you just played the clip of somebody saying that, but there's really, that there's not a mothership, and they don't know what it is, or they know that they're not harmed, but yet the FBI says they don't know anything about them.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're right, Dave. You're absolutely right about that. I mean, you hear from the FBI, well, we don't think that they're dangerous, but we really don't know. How can you say you don't think they're dangerous if you don't know what they are? How can you say, I don't think, it's a thing to be concerned about until you identify who's flying the drones? Foreign adversary, advanced hobbyist, I don't know what it is, but one way or the other, we should not allow these things to fly over sensitive military installations with impunity. and think about this. January 20th, Washington, D.C., we're going to have an inauguration. There are going to be people from the Capitol all the way down to the Washington Monument on the Mall. What if they show up then? When they've only flown at night, right now, but what if they were to fly during the day? I mean, that would be something to be very concerned about, wouldn't it? It's just mind-boggling. Listen, if you got any more ideas, give me a call. Gary, stay on the line. 615-737-9986 right now, 321 on Super Talk 99.7. economic turmoil, it's probably a good idea now and then to just sort of take a stock of where you are with all your investments and make sure you're on track to be able to retire the way you want to retire. If you're finding yourself in that boat, you're not alone. There are steps you can take to be better positioned regardless of what happens. You deserve the confidence to know that no matter what is going on in the economy, you have a plan that helps you keep your financial goals in line with your life's priorities. If you're in or nearing retirement, Beacon Capital Management has a free retirement-ready toolkit just for you. You'll get a Money Enough for Life book, a retirement planning checklist, and a Maximizing Your Retirement Income white paper. No cost, no obligation, no pressure. Just call this number, 615-488-9303, to get your free, absolutely free, retirement-ready toolkit. Again, that number, write it down, 615-488-9303.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Metro Parks made an announcement today about enhanced safety at the city's greenways. We'll tell you about that at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
From very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources, I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America.
That is a Representative Jeff Van Drew, who was speaking on Fox News earlier today. I mean, that got everybody's attention for a few minutes. Hey, it's an Iranian mothership off the coast of the east coast in the Atlantic Ocean. It's launching these drones toward New Jersey. And then a short time later, we had a statement from the Pentagon who said definitively, no. That's really not what it is. Here's what they said it was.
There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States.
But what is it? What is it? To the phone lines we go. Let's go to Michelle. Michelle, good afternoon. You're on the drive. You got any thoughts about this?
Yeah, it is baffling as an American that has family members that have served our country. If you try to go on a base, you have to have ID. You cannot pass certain entries. You have to have ID. You have to say why you're there, what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. Even for a veteran that wants to go on a base, different protocols. So our country and our FBI and all these people are saying, well, we don't know what it is. Why would you even let a drone close to one of our bases to attack it? I mean, do we want another 9/11 or Pearl Harbor? I mean, doesn't it make sense to me? Why would it be an automatic take it out?
Yeah, no indication that they've been weaponized, but who's to say the next one won't be? I mean, that's the thing. That these can fly with impunity, just like that Chinese spy balloon. Nothing done about it. You remember when we got to the Chinese spy balloon, we found out that they had known about the Chinese spy balloons for quite some time and had tracked other Chinese spy balloons and took no action. Now we've got drones, and they don't seem to be capable of doing anything about it or even finding out who's responsible. Lance, you're up next on the drive. Lance, what's your thought about all this? You have any theory?
Yeah, mine's probably the most simple theory. I think they belong to the United States government. That's the reason they're flying over protected airspace, and the reason nobody's pursuing them or chasing them down. It's a mission testing and see what the capabilities are instead of going out to Arizona like during the alien times. We got to test these things somewhere, and I think the U.S. government's behind every bit of it.
Well, you may be right, and certainly it is interesting but the military seemed to be baffled about the drones over that Virginia base. The military seems to be able to tell you what it's not, but not what it is. And when you ask the FBI, that you would imagine that they would be able to find out if these were ours. Why would you keep that secret from the FBI? I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're right, but I mean, it just raises all kinds of questions. Mark. Standing by with his theory. Mark, what do you think these things are?
Well, I spent a few years working for an electronics firm that made, developed, and built drones that would capture dangerous drones.
Yeah, there are drones that can capture drones. You're right, yes.
Yeah, so my feeling is, and I hadn't thought about them being our drones, is that so far these things have not posed to be a threat, so they haven't done anything to stop them from flying. And if it's an enemy, then they're giving them false security. If it's ours, then maybe the Department of Defense and maybe the FBI just isn't going to tell us, maybe for our own security. I think our government gives away way too much information publicly anyway.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Well, listen, we've run out of time. We're going to come back to this topic again in the 5 o'clock hour. So if you didn't get on, and a lot of people lined up to talk, and unfortunately we've run out of time on this topic, it's now 3:30 and time for the news on Super Talk 99.7.
3:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. FBI Director Christopher Wray says he's leaving his post at the end of the Biden administration. Wray, appointed by then President Trump, making the announcement at a town hall with FBI employees. The Senate still has to confirm Trump's pick for Wray's successor, former federal prosecutor Kash Patel. Here's Pierre Thomas in Washington.
There are background checks that have to be done by investigators for the Senate. So we'll have to see how long that plays out. But make no mistake, this interim period, from the time from which the FBI director steps down until a new director is confirmed, will be a critical one for the country.
Here in Nashville, 2 Metro Parks police officers now dedicated to patrolling the city's greenways. Channel 4 says it came in a meeting with parks leaders this morning, and about a month since the murder of Alyssa Lockett on the Mill Creek Greenway in Antioch, where she was exercising. These officers to be equipped with gear to be out in all types of weather. It's unknown if they'll be focused on certain greenways or rotate among all of them. Right now in Williamson County, authorities are looking for the armed suspect they say assaulted and then forced the Grassland Sonic manager into a vehicle where the victim was assaulted further, then threatened, then dumped out in a nearby neighborhood. Happened last night after 10 o'clock as the employee was closing up the restaurant on Battlewood and Hillsborough Road. And officials investigating a message sent to people in Nashville and Franklin claiming a woman was nearly kidnapped while driving to work.
Hey, ladies, I'm recording this instead of trying to text it.
Now, this person claimed her vehicle was surrounded by other vehicles and masked armed men got out to take her, but she got away. The Williamson County Sheriff's Office, according to Channel 4, says it got a report about it but found no crime happened. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, now 40 eastbound in Bellevue. You've got a stalled vehicle blocking the right shoulder there at exit 196. Then in Williamson County, TDOT reporting a stalled vehicle blocking the left shoulder, 65 southbound at exit 61. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, think for a moment about that special someone and that gift that you have not yet gotten for them for the holidays. Let me think about it. Well, maybe, give them something that may or may not fit, that they might need to return. Give them an adventure, a real adventure. Give them an introductory flight experience from Tennessee Flight Training. I did this. I took a flight with them. It was a blast. You will meet and fly with a certified flight instructor, and my flight was out of B&A. We circled the skyscrapers downtown, saw the Batman building, looked down on Nissan Stadium, flew along the Cumberland River. It was awesome. You can also book your flight out of Murray County Regional or Shelbyville Municipal Airport. It can be just for fun, or think about this, it could be your first step toward getting your pilot's license. Did you know the aviation industry is facing a pilot shortage? Help yourself or a loved one jumpstart a new career in this in-demand, high-paying profession. Right now, save $50 when you purchase an introductory flight experience if you do so before December 24th. For more details, call them at 1-800-669-0250 and learn more at tnflighttraining.com. Again, that's tnflighttraining.com. Tennessee Flight Training, the skies are calling. It is the 11th day of December. So what is that, 14 days till Christmas? Is that right? Yeah, 14 days till Christmas. You got 14 shopping days left. Well, I guess you don't shop on Christmas. So it'd be 13 shopping days left. Math, not my strong suit. And I'm not even ready. Not even close to being ready. How are you doing? You getting it done out here, getting your shopping done? I'm way behind on that. Because I have a long laundry list of things that Cabana wife keeps asking me to do. So we're in the middle of all that during the holidays, putting up decorations still.
I've got a long list of problems I have with people.
Oh, so you have grievances?
Yes.
Oh, so what is that?
And we're going to go over it with the feats of strength.
What is that? What is it they called it? Festivus. The
Festivus for the rest of us.
Yes, that's right. Well, I hope I'm not on your list of grievances.
Of course not, Brother Brian.
Yeah,
You're too big.
Yeah, but you know what they say, the bigger that, I tell you, sometimes that's an advantage. I'll tell you, Ken, it's an advantage. Sometimes it's nice to be big and tall. You reach things on the top shelf.
Right.
And they say that, tall people, generally, I don't know if this is true or not, but I mean, I've heard it said many, many times that tall people are generally very successful people. They have a history of being more successful than, some people who are not tall. I don't want to call them runty or anything, but
height disadvantaged.
Yeah, but so it's all that. But I'll tell you, being a big guy, whenever I would need to go like with a camera, go out with a camera and what we used to call a scrum. Yeah. There's some kind of, you're going to have to chase somebody down.
Right.
And then sometimes the police don't want you to be the place where you want to chase. Well, the Capitol Police and the Secret Service have I guess a strategy. And their strategy is take out the big guy first and the rest will all get in line.
Yes.
There's that. And then, but the downside to being tall is that they say that tall people don't live as long. It takes a lot more, to pump all that blood around your system.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true.
It's a bigger system and your heart has to work hard to get it all the way from your toes to your head. I guess that's what it is. I don't know.
I wonder what it says about people who are big boned.
Well, that's just the polite way of saying.
Honey, you're not fat. You're just big boned.
I used to be, as they say, big boned. I'm down about almost 40 pounds.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, you're going to blow away in the wind if you don't stop.
I know.
No, you look great, dude. You look great.
Thank you. A couple of 2 or 3 little stories here that I thought were interesting. I'd pass along to you. There is a report about a report that has not yet been made. This from thehill.com. Time magazine is planning, they say, to name President-elect Donald Trump as the annual Person of the Year. The magazine plans to announce the decision Thursday morning. Politico reported on Wednesday, citing 3 people familiar with the plans and noting that Trump would be in New York City that morning to ring the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. In a statement to The Hill, Time said, and I quote, "But we do not comment on our annual choice for Person of the Year prior to publication. This year's choice will be announced tomorrow morning. That's December 12th on time.com. But, can you think of anybody who's had a bigger impact on the news than Donald Trump in the last year? I can't think of one, so that will be interesting. CNN. This is, I'm telling you, this radio station on a good day probably has more listeners than CNN has viewers. It's pathetic how far CNN has fallen. You used to hear James Earl Jones say, "This is CNN." The world's most important network is hardly that now. CNN's primetime lineup struggled to attract viewers last week, falling behind several cable networks, including the Food Network. The network ranked 17th in primetime ratings, 17th during a busy news cycle, which included the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, developments surrounding President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet picks, Joe Biden's controversial pardon of his son Hunter, and international news from Syria. and they lost to the Food Network. You know, when Fox News was coming along in the early days, I was there years 2 through, what was it, 2 through 14, I think it was. Yeah. When we began, we weren't on many cable systems, and we were struggling to get numbers, and our great goal was to beat, Bob Squarepants. What's the guy's name?
SpongeBob
SquarePants. Yeah. SpongeBob SquarePants. That was our goal, was to beat a cartoon. And we had a little sort of a joke celebration. We beat, SpongeBob SquarePants. Oh, well, the future is rich with opportunity. We thought that was great, beating a cartoon. But CNN has fallen and fallen. Probably, I don't know about you, Ken, but I think the problem with CNN is it has wavered on what it wants to be like 5 times.
Yes.
I mean, it used to be, I think a little dull, but it used to, sort of play it up the middle there for a while. Then they decided that they were going to go to the left to counter whatever they perceived that Fox was doing. And they went way left, and, then they were competing with MSNBC, who went even further left.
Yeah.
And then they decided for a while we're going to come back to the middle, and then they changed it again and went left again.
Well, and what you and everybody, the other hosts on this station have pointed out is narratives started, reality, started catching up with the narratives. And, kind of like what happened with the election, everybody is struggling to pay bills, yet we've been gaslighted.
Yeah.
And it just was not what they were preaching, just was not reality. And then, of course, you've got social media. I mean, man, so many people are going to social media now to get news or what is, put out there as news. And I think places like CNN are suffering, but Fox is not.
Fox, they always said when I was at Fox that we are basically in our programming that it has editorial content, right of center, just a little right of center, because that's where, most Americans are, a little right of center on average. Even people who say that they're liberal, if you ask them about certain things, you find out they sort of hold a lot of conservative values, even though they might consider themselves to be, social liberals or otherwise. But so they position themselves, they said, just a little right of center, and it seemed to really work. But you know what I think it really becomes is you get used to people. I like watching that Bill Hemmer and Dana Perino in the morning. I watch them in the morning, and I enjoy their personalities. You get to like them. And CNN, I don't know what's going on over there, but they've been putting people on the air who don't have success.
Well, and remember, after the 2020 election, they took people who were out there in the press pool and then put them in the studio.
Yep.
And like you said, the likability factor, I think, went down because, maybe their viewers were used to who they were watching, and then all of a sudden they're gone.
You hear a lot of talk, for example, about Anderson Cooper. Oh, Anderson Cooper. Oh, the mainstream media, they all love Anderson Cooper 360. He had 367,000 total viewers. Total. Not even the demo. 367,000 viewers during his 8 to 11 time slot. That's prime time. There were 330 million people in America.
Yeah.
And he had 367,000 of them. I mean, that's hardly a blip.
And how much is he getting paid?
Yeah, there's that for sure. This pales in comparison to Fox News Channel, which drew an average of 2.5 million total viewers in the same period. You can add CNN and MSNBC together, and it still doesn't equal what Fox News does.
Yep, and advertisers, they look at that.
In the demo, the network CNN finished 26th among cable channels, averaging over the course of the day 67,000 viewers.
Whoa.
Less than 100,000 viewers nationwide. I don't know how you paid the electric bill with that.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, it's really bad. TV Land, MTV, Comedy Central, Nick at Night are all doing better than the cable news network.
I'm telling you, if MTV, with what MTV has become, is doing better, that says something.
Yeah.
Because I cannot watch MTV. I mean, I'm probably not in their demo, but I mean, it's not even music television anymore.
Yeah, I know. Back in the day, wasn't that great? Back when it was, and I don't know what it is now. All right, 50 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. The folks at Busy Bee HVAC want to wish you a very Merry Christmas, and they have some good deals this December. A limited number of SEER 1 1/2 to 3 ton split heat pumps for residential unit replacements for only $6,995. That includes labor, equipment, material, and warranty. This system offers a great balance of energy efficiency and year-round comfort for residential homes. How about a $69 mainline camera inspection from the outside cleanout, or a free package upgrade for air duct cleaning? You buy the basic air duct cleaning, they will upgrade to the next level. So for example, you buy the middle tier package, you automatically get the premium air duct cleaning package. And get $500 gift card with the installation of a whole home water or drain pipe replacement or a whole home water or drain pipe repipe. For satisfaction guaranteed, call Busy Bee HVAC, your Rude Pro partner, 775-7833, or visit busybeehvac.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's hopping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Mystery drones. FBI Director Christopher Wray tells when he's going to step down. Fingerprints and shell casings match. So do, well, according to the NYPD commissioner. And then social media disruption. And fake death father comes back. Details at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, 56 minutes past the hour. Let's take a look at the markets. Dow Jones Industrial down about 199 points. S&P up about 49. The NASDAQ had a pretty good day, up to 347 points. That's 1 3/4%. What's driving the markets today? Let's check in with John Maxon over at Beacon Capital Management. Good afternoon, John.
Hey, good afternoon, Brian. Yeah, great day on the NASDAQ. In fact, today's the first day that has crossed 20,000, so that's a record for the NASDAQ. Tesla was a big part of that, up almost 6% today, but really what the market was watching really closely was the consumer price index. Of course, the Fed is really all about inflation and the jobs market. That was supposed to come in. The forecast was 2.7. That was in line with that forecast at 2.7. The previous mark was 2.6, so elevated a little bit. Still some sticky inflation in things like healthcare and groceries and some of the things like that. Auto insurance impact consumers each and every day, but the market liked the fact the report was in line. It probably staples an additional Fed rate decrease on the 18th, so the market really cheered that today.
All right, thank you very much, John. And to find out what John Maxon and the other good people over at Beacon Capital Management can do to help you get ready for your retirement, just go to their website, askbeaconnow.com. 58 past the hour.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Mystery drones. New Jersey Congressman Chris Smith telling ABC News he's hearing from alarmed constituents reporting swarms of drones flying over his home state.
We better be really, really aggressive in deciphering who is deploying these.
Smith says he believes the drones are from a hostile actor and wants an investigation. But earlier today, a Pentagon spokesperson said they have no evidence these activities are coming from a foreign entity or adversary. Might be a job for the FBI, but Director Christopher Wray telling Bureau employees he's going to leave his post.
After weeks of careful thought, I've decided the right thing for the Bureau is for me to serve until the end of the current administration in January and then step down.
Comes almost 2 weeks after President-elect Trump announced his plan to nominate Kash Patel for director, effectively firing Wray, who was appointed by Trump and had 3 years left in his 10-year term. The man accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson being held without bail in Pennsylvania, awaiting extradition back to New York City. NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch confirming matches investigators have made as they gather evidence against Luigi Mangione, arrested this week with a weapon.
We got the gun in question back from Pennsylvania. It's now at the NYPD crime lab. We were able to match that gun to the 3 shell casings that we found in Midtown at the scene of the homicide.
She says they were also able to match Mangione's fingerprints. Social media disruption. Users have reported widespread issues with Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, WhatsApp, and Threads today. No additional details available from the company that owns them, Meta, only to say they're working on it. Meanwhile, one of the country's most popular donut chains appears to have a hole in their security. Mike Dubusky.
Krispy Kreme has been hit with a cyber attack, according to the company's latest 8K filing with the SEC. The attack has affected some of the donut chain's operations, including online ordering in some areas, though physical stores are still open. The company says it's bringing in cybersecurity experts to investigate, contain, and remediate the incident.
A Wisconsin husband and father of 3 who faked his own death is now in custody in the U.S. Authorities tracking 45-year-old Ryan Borgart to Eastern Europe after he fled the country last August. Green Lake County Sheriff Mark Podol says Bogart returned this week of his own accord.
He's cooperated with us. Came back to the United States.
Podol says his office has recommended a number of charges, including obstruction. Bogart could also face federal charges. He'll be charged at least $40,000 for the search of the Wisconsin lake where he was kayaking before he vanished. Authorities say he took out a life insurance policy and moved money to a foreign bank before disappearing. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, in addition to the usual slowdowns, we have a crash on the west end. This is 440 westbound at exit 1. Then 65 southbound at exit 61 in Williamson County. You got a stalled vehicle blocking the left shoulder there in Franklin. And in Rutherford County, we've got an accident 24 eastbound right as you're approaching Old Hickory Boulevard. Police on scene. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is 6 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock. Hope you're doing well out there on this sort of, blustery day. A little breezy out there, a little cool. I got a temperature of 41, but it feels cooler than that to me. I don't know. Glad you're doing well. Hope your holiday's going well so far. We're going to get down to business here because we need to catch up. You know, I think it's important, very important, to stay on top of the transition. You know, just because we've had the election, a lot of people say, oh, thank goodness that's over. And they sort of just, I guess there was a sigh of relief that it worked out well for our side. And then I think people have started to wander off and not pay attention as much. And I think that's a mistake. Because, you know, getting elected is just half of it. You got to then get your people in there, and then you got to come up with a plan. And that's all happening right now. Important stuff is happening every day. You really can't afford to be out of a loop on it. So we'll continue to do this a lot. Today, Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, said that he's going to resign. Probably not a big surprise, given the fact that we had, some things said before by President Trump about what he was going to do. He said, are you going to fire the guy? And he didn't really want to get too deep into that. But he did say, it sort of makes sense that we're going to have to do something, and that I've appointed somebody else that I'd like to see as FBI director. Well, Christopher Wray, rather than be fired, has decided that he will step down at the end of the current administration.
After weeks of careful thought, I've decided the right thing for the Bureau is for me to serve until the end of the current administration in January and then step down.
And he had more to say.
Now, it should go without saying, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyways. This is not easy for me. I love this place. I love our mission, and I love our people. But my focus is, and always has been, on us and on doing what's right for the FBI. You, the men and women of the FBI, are why the Bureau will endure and remain successful long, long into the future.
And finally, he said this.
My goal is to keep the focus on our mission, on the indispensable work each of you is doing every single day. Because when you look at where the threats are headed, it is clear that the importance of our work protecting the American people and upholding the Constitution will not change.
All right, Christopher Wray is going to be on the way out when the administration comes to a close. So either it'll be on January 20th or a day or so before. And, Kash Patel has been chosen by President Trump to take over that position at the FBI. It looks like his nomination is in pretty good shape. So where are we on other nominations? We, of course, have more than a passing interest in our friend Pete Hegseth, who's been nominated to be the new Secretary of Defense. He had a big meeting today with a key senator who may have some concerns about him. That would be Susan Collins of Maine. As he exited her office, the cameras were standing by.
It was a great meeting with Senator Collins. And again, at office after office, having the opportunity to spend time with these senators who have invested their careers in ensuring that our warfighters get what they need has been an amazing educational process. And Senator Collins, like her colleagues before her, reiterated that. And it was a wonderful conversation. We focused on what needs to be done to make sure this Pentagon is focused on warfighting and lethality, and we look forward to staying in touch with her.
Did you chair the Appropriations Committee?
I'm certainly not going to assume anything about where the senator stands. This is a process that we respect and appreciate, and we hope through time, overall, when we get through that committee and to the floor, that we can earn her support. But it's about earning support in this process.
Well, he's trying to earn the support. Susan Collins was asked about this after that meeting, and how did she feel? She's keeping her powder dry, but it wasn't a no.
We covered a wide range of topics, ranging from defense procurement reforms to the role of women in the military, sexual assault in the military, Ukraine, NATO, a wide range of issues.
But she didn't say she was going to support the nomination, just that she would want to see the process played out and go to hearing, and she would make a decision then. One of the other senators who has been sort of having some concerns, apparently, about Pete Hegseth is Lisa Murkowski of Alaska. And she was cornered by reporters walking down the hallway. They got her before she got on the elevator, and here's what she had to say.
I had a good exchange with Mr. Hegseth.
Are you ready to support him?
I had a good exchange, and we'll see what the process bears.
What more are you looking to learn?
Well, he's got probably at least half the Senate that he's going to visit with. He's got a process that is going to involve full vetting through the administration and then ultimately a committee.
So let's see how that shapes up then. Even if Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski decide that they cannot vote for Hegseth, that would be 51 votes. You could still lose one more and still get the nomination confirmed. You know, because if you got 50 in the new Senate, there'll be 53 Republicans and 47 Democrats. If you get 50 Republicans, J.D. Vance could come in and break the tie. So you can afford to lose 3 senators. The other one that seems to be sort of, if you look carefully what she's saying, it's not a full-throated endorsement of Hegseth, but it seems like she's getting a lot of pressure to get on board with the idea, and that would be Joni Ernst of Iowa. So, look, I think the way it looks to me right now, that he will probably get 51 votes at least, maybe more. Maybe these answers can come. The confirmation hearings, I'm going to warn you right now, are going to be butt ugly. They're just going to be ugly as homemade sin. That's just the way it is. It's going to be that way. Senator John Thune, though, who's the incoming majority leader of the Senate, is optimistic.
A lot of these nominees, including Pete Hegseth, have been making the rounds on the Capitol, starting with the committees of jurisdiction that will have responsibility for the confirmation process and ensure that their nominations make it eventually to the floor. And I think the nominees are doing a really nice job. I mean, Pete Hegseth, in his conversations, I think, with members, has been very compelling in terms of what he believes is necessary to put the real, focus on the war fighter when it comes to the Defense Department's priorities. As you heard Susan Collins talk about procurement reform, that's something that's important to a lot of our members. And, he's got the background. He's a combat veteran. He's obviously somebody who understands what it takes to fight battles on the ground, and I think that's a perspective that is very impressive to a lot of the members that he's had the opportunity to meet with so far and to be questioned by. I think that the Trump nominees are approaching this the right way. They're coming in, they've been very open and candid and subjecting themselves to lots of questions from lots of senators from different parts of the country who have different perspectives on these issues and want to hear from them about their vision for the jobs that they've been nominated for. And I think the important thing here is President Trump needs his team in place to be able to implement his agenda. These are the people that he's selected. I give wide latitude and wide deference to the president when he makes these selections. We have a job to do, advice and consent, and we will do it and make sure that there's a process that's fair to all these nominees.
All right, well, that's sounding pretty optimistic. I think most of these nominees are going to go through. I think some of the confirmation hearings, the Democrats are going to try to create, sort of chaos. And as I've covered Capitol Hill for quite a few years, I have covered a lot of these confirmation process battles. And this one seems like the Trump people are doing everything exactly right. They're getting up there. They're letting their nominees go in and face these senators toe to toe, face to face, and answer their questions, allay any concerns that they can have. There's a great story in Breitbart about Pete Hegseth's battle because when it's first started, I told you I wasn't sure he was going to get through. I said earlier I thought it was on the bubble, and it really was. But then in about a day and a half, he turned things around. How did he do it? From the Breitbart story, just 1 week ago, Trump Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth's confirmation appeared doomed after a barrage of hit pieces. However, after launching an intense campaign to defend himself, he now appears to be on the path toward confirmation. By last Monday, things did not look so good. No fewer than 4 hit pieces had dropped, one after another, just as Hegseth began to meet with senators responsible for confirming him. They were all based on anonymous allegations, some 10 years old, but the pileup became too much to ignore. Republican senators began publicly expressing doubts. On Tuesday, Senator Lindsey Graham called the allegations very disturbing. Sensing blood in the water, Senator Richard Blumenthal, a Democrat, told reporters that 5 to 10 Republicans opposed Hegseth's confirmation but were waiting for the right time to come out. Indeed, a bipartisan group of senators on the Armed Services Committee, the panel responsible for advancing Hegseth's nomination to the full Senate, expressed doubts about Hegseth and began floating Senator Joni Ernst as a potential alternative. The Wall Street Journal reported that President-elect Donald Trump was considering replacing Hegseth with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and called Wednesday a make-or-break day for Hegseth. Other corporate news media followed suit. On Wednesday, December 4th, Senator Joni Ernst issued a terse post on X after meeting with Hegseth, saying she appreciated his service and that they had a frank and thorough discussion. But Wednesday was also the day that Hegseth began fighting back. He began the morning telling reporters he had no plans to withdraw his nomination, that he spoke directly to Trump, and that the president-elect told him he was with him all the way. He then went on the Megyn Kelly Show podcast and addressed in detail every single anonymous allegation leveled at him. At the same time, Hegseth's former co-workers, friends, and supporters began rallying behind him, with several dozen going on the record to dispute the allegations. Even his mother, Penelope Hegseth, appeared on Fox and Friends to defend her son and retract an angry email she had sent him in 2018 as he was in the midst of the divorce proceedings. The next day, Hegseth continued his meetings with senators and took his fight to social media. He posted on X photos after meeting with each senator, publicly thanking them. Many of them posted their own photos with him and responded in kind, letting Trump supporters know where they stood. Trump supporters simultaneously went after Ernst, who the Federalist reported had called Trump multiple times, nagging him to drop Hegseth. Trump himself posted an op-ed in Truth Social defending Hegseth, and incoming National Security Advisor Mike Waltz went on Fox News staunchly defending him. Well, I'm telling you, I have rarely seen a troubled nomination turn around quite that quickly. Hegseth and his managers are doing a brilliant job in turning this around. And it really, to go from being on the ropes, and he was, believe me, folks, I've done this a while. He was on the ropes. it looked like he might go down in flames. And now it looks like he's going to be confirmed. Again, I don't think it's going to be an easy confirmation hearing, but I think he has the answers, and I think he's formidable in front of the microphone, and I think he's prepared to go round and round with those guys. If it gets too ugly, he'll give them back as good as he gets, I promise you. So it looked like Pete Hegseth in pretty good shape. Kimberly Guilfoyle apparently will be the new ambassador to Greece. This is interesting because Guilfoyle was the fiancée of Donald Trump Jr., and there is a report that they have broken up. Nothing has been said publicly, but they have not been seen together in a while. So she's apparently going to go off to Greece. Lara Trump stepping down as RNC co-chair. She may be in the mix for Marco Rubio's Senate seat in the state of Florida. She did a brilliant job with the campaign, turned the RNC around, and now being talked about as a possible replacement for Marco Rubio, who has been nominated to take the Secretary of State's job. 21 past the hour now. Hey, have you noticed how unreliable things have become these days? Like when someone tells you it'll be ready at 4 and it's not, and you're standing around wasting your time. People get tired of that stuff. Well, if you've had it with unreliable vehicle repair shops, come to Eurofix. Eurofix has your vehicle ready when it's supposed to be ready, so you're not standing around wasting your time. Eurofix repairs all European cars with quality that beats the dealer without dealer pricing. And that's because dealer repair shops are designed to pay virtually all of a dealership's overhead, and that is a lot of money. Why would you want to pay for that? At Eurofix, reliable also means a 3-year nationwide warranty plus a free loaner car with every repair appointment. Make sure you call ahead. Loaner cars are very popular. If you're tired of unreliable vehicle repair shops, come to where it is reliable. Eurofix, family owned for 24 years. Here's the number, 844-EUROFIX, or visit myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hackers claim to have data on local school districts' employees, and mystery drones have a Republican congressman calling for an investigation. These stories and the day's closing money news at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The drone story is absolutely riveting and fascinating to me, that we have drones flying over sensitive areas in this country, and we don't seem to know who they are. We don't know where they're coming from. We have no information about them. So I'm going to get back into that conversation at the top of the 5 o'clock hour. And everybody's got a theory. We'll give you a chance to express what you think is going on. But that's a bizarre story, Ken. I mean, it reminds me of the Chinese spy balloon.
Yes, that. And I want to lean on you and your experience in Washington. And, like, what do you think is about what's coming from the Pentagon on this?
It's weird, isn't it?
Yes, it's kind of frightening.
There's one congressman who said that it was an Iranian ship offshore, and that they were launching the drones at night from that ship off the East Coast. And then the Pentagon came out with a very succinct statement saying, we don't know of any ship. There is no ship. There is no Iranian mystery pirate ship off the coast, and sort of put that one to bed. But they don't tell you anything about what they think it is.
Yes.
And they don't. And that's the thing. Everybody says, well, we don't think it's a problem. Well, what is it? Well, we don't know what it is, but we don't think it's a problem. We don't think it's dangerous.
Nothing to see here, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
Nothing to see.
Yeah, listen, there is something weird going on with that for sure, and we'll talk about that coming up in the next hour. Can I just say, Ken, as you know, I'm getting ready to enter the realm of semi-retirement here in a few days. 24th is the last full-time show that I'll be doing. It is my intention and expectation that I'll be around in other ways, but I won't be doing a full-time show. And that's all been on the record. Everybody knows that.
Yes, sir.
So, I am now in the position of doing something that millions of Americans have done. And I just want to say right now, my hat's off to you for enduring that process. I'm trying to sign up for Social Security and Medicare. And because I'm not going to have company insurance anymore, so I got to get my Medicare all lined out. And I know people do this every day, and oh my God, what a process this is! I had no idea that it was this complicated. I had no idea.
Well, I heard you earlier today say you had been on the phone for 5 hours, and there's still it's not over yet.
No, so what happens is you call. First of all, I go online and they say, "Oh, you can do this online. Just apply online."
Yeah.
Well, so I started that process, and you know what? I got about 2 or 3 minutes into it, and the system said, "I'm sorry, you're not eligible to do this online." I go, "Well, then why did you ask me to do it online?" And so I have to dig up the number.
Oh.
It asked me for a number that I don't think I've ever had that number. It says it's something called a BIC. Write your BIC here. I have no idea what that is. I have no idea where I find it.
Right.
I've never gotten a letter that says, here's your BIC. I don't know what that is. So anyway, I call, right? And I've got this person out of Birmingham who's handling my case.
Yeah.
And so I have her number, and I called her number, and I've called her number 6 times. It's supposed to be a direct number. I have her extension and everything. And every time I call it says, "I'm sorry, we don't have the ability to transfer the phone call to that person."
Okay.
So leave a message. And so I left a message, and then I waited and waited and waited. I guess I must have run to the bathroom or something. And of course they called right then.
Of course.
And now I've got to start the whole dadgum thing over again. Same thing. I mean, with about 5 other things. And one person told me when I dialed in, said the current wait time for a return call or for somebody to get on the line is 3 hours.
Oh,
that's insane.
That just hurt my soul.
Listen, my friend, I had no idea what I was. All these years, I thought, I got to do that. I got to get that started someday.
Yeah.
And but now that I really need it, and It's shocking to me how, and I'm pretty good with what I call administrivia.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty good at cutting through red tape and doing things. It's maddening. I don't know how average Americans who have to deal with this, who you may not have, as much experience in dealing with the government as I do, I don't know how they do it. I really don't.
Wow.
Maddening.
Well, you should use your contacts in D.C. and get a hold of Elon and Vivek, Brian.
Yeah, just straighten this out. Oh yeah, then I got a hold of a person and I said I need to talk to this person. I said, we got a new phone system and nobody knows how to transfer. That's what I got told today.
They told you they can't do a simple part of their job?
They said, I'm sorry, I can't transfer the call. We got this new phone system and nobody knows how it works.
Oh no. Wow.
That's the government in a nutshell, ain't it?
Yeah,
pretty
that's
much.
Right. Your government at work. Well, I'm sorry. Listen, I'm doing something probably that every senior citizen has done at one time or another. Just marveled at how complex something this simple ought to be. But it's not easy.
I tell you, Brian, my parents, they've been retired for a long time now. I mean, this is going back 15 years. It took them months to get things in place.
Wow. I guess I should have
started. And that's 15 years ago.
I guess I should have started just a bit sooner.
Goodness gracious.
I had no idea. Well, anyway, my sympathies to anybody who's been through that process. I now understand your pain. Time for the news at 31 past the hour.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Middle Tennessee, hackers are claiming to have Rutherford County School District employee information. The district says there was a network disruption on November 25th, and they were notified this morning that employee information had been posted online. The district says it is unaware of any student information being compromised or posted online, and is working with national experts and law enforcement to fully investigate this matter. FBI Director Christopher Wray says he's going to step down at the end of President Biden's term next month. And NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch says today they have fingerprints and shell casings linking Luigi Mangione to the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Mangione in custody in Pennsylvania. Mystery drones over New Jersey has Republican Congressman Chris Smith concerned.
I believe our Department of Defense, I believe the federal government is uniquely qualified, and it's got the power given to it by the people to go and investigate this for the well-being and welfare of our people.
Now, you got the Pentagon saying it has no evidence that these activities are coming from a foreign entity or adversary, but they don't know, or at least they say they don't know what it is. Money News, Michelle Franzen.
Stocks ended up mixed on reports that inflation rose 2.7% in November from a year earlier, exactly as forecasted. The uptick appears to clear the way for the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates again next week. The Dow Jones dropping 99 points, the S&P up 49, and the Nasdaq Composite climbed 348 points, a new record. President-elect Donald Trump is expected to ring the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange Thursday, a first for him. The Bank of Canada cut its interest rate by 0.5 percentage point Wednesday, highlighting the risk of Trump's threat of 25% tariffs on all Canadian products. The European Union is slapping Russia with new sanctions, this time targeting a fleet of oil tankers and their owners that routinely flout restrictions on transporting fuel and oil. And more artificial intelligence for the latest iPhones. Apple today released a free software update that lets users create customized emojis in a matter of seconds.
That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, we've got the usual brake tapping in the usual places, but some extra hurdles to get by. We've got a crash reported on the west end. That's going to be 440 westbound right there at exit 1. Down here in Williamson County, you've got 65 southbound at exit 61. And then back closer to Nashville, Antioch, 24 eastbound, a crash there at Harding Place. And looking over here, the right shoulder of 65 southbound over there on the North Loop, southbound right after Rosa Parks Boulevard, is blocked by a stalled vehicle. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, listen, make a magical Christmas with help from the Genesis Diamonds. You will love what's happening this month at Genesis. They've got a 5-year, 0% interest financing across the board. So what does that mean? Well, it means you go in there and you pick out anything that's in the shop. Divide the price by 60, and that will be your payment. Everything is affordable. Guys, Genesis has what women love, from simple diamond stud earrings to amazing one-of-a-kind designer bracelets. Their showcases are filled with exquisite diamond rings, earrings, pendants, bracelet bands. Can't miss gifts with craftsmanship and lasting value. All of Genesis' exclusive designers are showcasing their latest creations, so you can get her something truly unique and special. And Genesis's non-commissioned experts will help you pick out that gift that's sure to bring tears to her eyes on Christmas morning. Relax, no pressure at Genesis. They will make it very, very easy. This year, get her the most romantic, most memorable gift for the season. Genesis Diamonds, best value and best selection, best quality, best overall experience. Get holiday store hours, directions, and service finance details at GenesisDiamonds.com. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
It is 39, almost 40 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Brian Wilson in the chair all the way till 7 o'clock. Glad you're with us. I hope you're getting home safely. Get home and enjoy. This is the time of year you want to get home and sit down and have a glass of eggnog. Just enjoy this, a little bit of the season. Catch your breath. Busy time of year for a lot of people. It really is. This story, it just made me angry as I read it. And I think it's going to make you angry too. I've been blessed, and I've never had to be on food. Although I was poor enough at one time, I should have been on food stamps when I was just getting into the business. I qualified. I just never thought to ask for food stamps.
Me either. I wish I would have.
Yeah, I mean, I was eating Spam and bologna sandwiches.
I was buying Big Chief peanut butter and Wonder Bread.
I know, exactly. I mean, I get it. My first radio job, my first big radio job I was news director of my hometown radio station, and I made the whopping sum of $400 a month.
Yes, sir.
And they said, well, yeah, you get a car, which was true. I had a news car, and I got to drive that around. That was good. That saved me a lot of money.
Sure.
But then they said, and here's the thing, Brian, free burritos, all you can eat. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, see the parking lot? Yeah, see back there. We allowed a company to put a sort of a freezer unit on the back lot of our parking lot.
Yeah.
And a truck comes here every day and unloads a bunch of frozen burritos and takes them around to all the 7-Elevens around town and stocks them up. And so in exchange for letting them put that refrigerator on the back of our parking lot, they provide us with a bunch of free burritos and you can go in and nuke one and you'll have, burritos anytime you want them. I ate so many of those stinking burritos, and they were horrid. They were the worst, but I mean, it was better than hunger.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have been bologna poor.
Yes, sir.
mean, I've been, Spam sandwich poor.
Yep.
And I get what it is, and I never thought to get food stamps. But, we don't want people to go hungry, and we have, sort of this safety net. I don't think people have to go hungry in America. There are programs for people if you just apply for them. And then there are food banks. Every community's got a food bank, it seems. Some have many. And, I remember in D.C., there were food banks that would deliver food to you. You call them and say, man, I need food, and they would just bring it to your house. I mean, so, I don't think you have to go hungry. So, but if you're on food stamps or if you're on the SNAP program or whatever it is, here's the thing. How many times have you been at the grocery store and somebody pulls out, their SNAP card or I forget what they call it, and pays for groceries, and you're not trying to be nosy, but you can't help but notice these things. And then you look, and all they're loading up on is soda and Twinkies and junk food. And you go, well, hold on a minute. My government and my taxpayer dollars are paying for the food that you're buying here. And you're buying nothing but soda and Twinkies and Fritos and bean dip. When you look at it, you say, not a great thing that you can use this money that is really meant to be sort of like a lifeline to provide food for you and your family on food that really is not good for you. Now, I believe in individual, prerogative, and individuals should be able to make the decisions they want to make. But if the federal government is paying you to buy food, you ought to then, there ought to be some limitations on the kind of food that you can buy so that you're not buying a bunch of junk food that's going to make you obese and have diabetes. And who agrees with that? Governor Sarah Huckabee of Arkansas, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She has sent a letter to incoming Secretary nominee Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Agriculture Secretary nominee Brooke Rollins, saying that, I want, when you get in office, I want to put limits in the state of Arkansas on how that money, that SNAP money, can be spent. So here's a story on it from FoxNews.com. Here's what she said. As you know, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program is a $113 billion federal program designed to support low-income families with food assistance. Unfortunately, this nutrition assistance program is undermining the health of millions of Americans on the taxpayer dime by encouraging families to eat highly processed, unhealthy junk food. In fact, soda, unhealthy snacks, candy, and dessert account for nearly 23%. 23% of about $25 billion worth of all SNAP purchases. Given the relationship between junk food and poor health, our federal food assistance policies are fueling obesity, diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, and a wide range of chronic health conditions around America. Sanders cited her experience as a mother, explained that 1/3 of people in the state of Arkansas suffer from diabetes or prediabetes, and 40% struggle with obesity. Sadly, these health conditions disproportionately affect lower-income families, the same people who rely on SNAP for food. Sanders cited the work of Stanford professor Jayanta Bhattacharya, I think that's right, nominated by President Trump to head the National Institutes of Health, which concluded that removing sugary drinks and snacks from the SNAP program would, listen to this, just saying no more sodas, no more sugary snacks, would prevent obesity in 141,000 children and type 2 diabetes in 240,000 adults. Just simply saying you can't buy soda with your SNAP money. As someone who believes in the Trump administration's unifying aspirational vision for the future, the time has come to support American farmers and end taxpayer-funded junk food. I wish to notify you of my intent to pursue a SNAP waiver from the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Food and Nutrition Service that would support fresh fruits, vegetables, eggs, and protein and prohibit using SNAP for junk food. I love this idea. She's going to, of course, you're going to get a sympathetic hearing of that for RFK Jr. But you know, is it possible that we could make these changes? Look, nobody needs to go hungry. But by the same token, if we're paying the freight on this, you and I, then this ought to be used to provide true nutrition for families, not a bunch of crap. And look, I stand behind no one in my love of good junk food now and then, but I'm paying for mine. And I also eat other healthy food. But I mean, you know what? If you're spending it on soda, then you are giving your family hollow calories. And, you know, if you give them a bunch of sugary food and you don't give them good, nutritious protein, you know, food that will actually nourish their bodies instead of make them look like a Goodyear blimp. I think she's got a great point.
Well, and sugary food, all that serves to do is make you hungrier.
Mm.
It just burns up, and you're more hungry than you were before you ate it.
You know, I believe in people having personal choice. You know, and I believe,
sure,
you know, leave me alone. If I'm not bothering you, leave me alone. I don't like government being heavy-handed about things. But, I mean, honestly, this is not to support the Twinkie, you know, and the Cokes and the Pepsis and the sugary drinks. This is meant to actually be a lifeline for people who can't afford to put decent food on the table. And so let's make sure that if you're getting government money, put food that is nutritious on the table and put a ban on. I don't know why there's been no ban. Why, you know, there'll be a hue and cry. So what? You and I are paying for it. And, you know, if you can't afford, you know, to put food on the table and you're taking SNAP money, at least use that money for food and nutrition rather than a bunch of junk food. Says the man who snacks on junk food during the show. I'm all out of junk food. All I have right now are a few pretzels.
Well, at least it's not sugary.
And my box of Teddy Grahams.
A little Teddy Grahams.
Teddy
Now,
Grahams.
that's got sugar in it.
Well, this is really more for Grogu than for me. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But I mean, seriously, she's got a great point. I wonder, maybe later I'll open up the phones on this or do it another day and say, no shame and needing a helping hand if you're doing your best and you just find yourself unable to feed your family. We need a lifeline. I want there to be a floor below which no one can drop. But let's see, if we're going to pay for it, let's make sure we're getting the bang for the buck, right? If we'll pay for you to have food on your table, but it's going to be good food, not junk food.
Especially if it helps the nation's farmers.
That's right. Of course, there's a win-win there for sure. 50 minutes now past the hour, 4 o'clock. There's an item that they have at Costco that they keep running out of, gold bars. They just can't keep them in stock. And that's because gold's breathtaking surge this year to repeated records hasn't stopped bullion from flying off the shelf. Gold is not only one of the best performing commodities, but it's outperforming many other assets. Now, the surge is driven by an appeal as a safe haven asset in times of geopolitical and economic uncertainty. And you know where you can get gold when Costco doesn't have any? My friends, it's very easy. My friends over at Nashville Gold and Coin. They sell the same high-quality products at Costco and other national on-time retailers. You will not be overcharged, and as a bonus, you'll be supporting a locally owned business. You're going to meet Kyle and Hannah over there, true experts. You can count on top-of-the-line personalized customer service. I mean, bottom line, Nashville Gold and Coin is the best place to buy gold in Middle Tennessee. And you'll be dealing with experts and not some random clerk who was in the produce section last week who has zero knowledge about precious metals. Make an appointment today with Nashville Gold and Coin. Go to NashvilleGoldandCoin.com.
5 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. And right now in Middle Tennessee, hackers are claiming to have Rutherford County School District employee information and appear to be selling it on the dark web. The Rutherford County School District says there was a network disruption on November 25th, and now it appears it was a ransomware attack. News 2 says an auction webpage with the logo of the hacker group Riceta was posted on the web today, listing a price of 20 Bitcoin, or about $2 million as the price for documents, one of them appearing to belong to a current Rutherford County Schools teacher. The district says it is unaware of any student information being compromised or posted online and is working with national experts and law enforcement to fully investigate the matter. College football may be over as we know it. Bill Belichick will become the next coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. This according to sources who tell CBS Sports NFL insider Jonathan Jones, the six-time Super Bowl champion who has never coached at the collegiate level in any capacity, will take over the top coaching position on the open market. Belichick is set to make $30 million over the next 3 years in this deal, according to The Athletic. Well, the current FBI director says he will leave the Bureau next month. Stephen Portnoy with the latest.
Christopher Wray tells Bureau employees he's leaving with 2.5 years left on his term to avoid dragging the FBI deeper into the fray. With President-elect Trump tapping loyalist Kash Patel to succeed him, Wray urged agents to adhere to the FBI's core values.
Our dedication to independence and objectivity and our defense of the rule of law.
On social media, Trump hails Wray's resignation, saying under his leadership, the Bureau, quote, worked diligently on illegally impeaching and indicting me.
New York Police Department Commissioner Jessica Tisch says they have fingerprints and shell casings. She says link Luigi Mangione to the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Meanwhile,
since the top United Healthcare officer's killing, corporate heads potentially face harassment and violence, says a law enforcement bulletin gotten by ABC News. It says many social media users have urged more killings of company officials, some posting hit lists. The bulletin includes photos of a banner draped on a highway overpass that includes the words deny, defend, depose, the same words police said were found on shell casings at the scene of Brian Thompson's murder.
As Chuck Sievertson reporting. And the latest news, traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, let's start with I-40 westbound. We've got a crash right there at 24 downtown. Then in Robertson County, 65 northbound between exit 108 and exit 112. You got a crash with the Highway Patrol working that. Back here closer to Nashville, a crash with the off-ramp partially blocked, 24 westbound off-ramp to Briley Parkway. And then in Antioch, 24 eastbound right after Harding Place. Murfreesboro, looks like a crash with the Highway Patrol working it, 840 eastbound right after exit 57. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy. You're listening to The Drive on Super Talk 99.7. Hope that you're having a good day. Going to get you all lined out here with news and information so that you're up to speed on what's happening in the world around you. And I'm telling you, one of the stories that is just mind-blowing to me is this story about the mystery drones. I mean, remember how we were all captivated with the idea that the Chinese had a steerable military balloon, that they were flying over the United States and that the United States was doing nothing about it as it looked down on sensitive missile sites in the Midwest and then ended up going over, even over the Oak Ridge National Laboratories right here in Tennessee. It went over that as well before it finally went out, and then the military, once it got over open water, and because they were so embarrassed that this had all been brought to their attention, they decided they would do something about it and shoot it down. These drones are flying over New Jersey over sensitive infrastructure, sensitive military installations, over potentially the home of our president-elect in New Jersey. And nobody seems to know what they are. Nobody seems to know exactly where they're coming from. Oh, a lot of people tell you what they're not, but they won't tell you what they are. And because this is such a fascinating mystery, and people love a mystery, as I go through all this stuff, I want you to get on the line and tell me if you have a theory or you have a comment about it at 615-737-9986. What do you think these drones are? Let me give you what I know. First of all, we had a congressman who said that it was from an offshore ship that was being run by the Iranians.
Representative.
Excuse me. Let's see if I can find this again. It is Representative Jeff Van Drew who made this statement.
From very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources, I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones, is everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly. Iran made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order to go forward. The sources I have are good. They can't reveal who they are because they are speaking to me in confidentiality. These drones should be shot down.
Well, that's a pretty stunning statement. He said that on Fox News, and it got Washington's attention in a huge way. What? The Iranians have a ship off the coast of New Jersey, and they're flying drones over sensitive military installations? Why the outrage of it all? And then a short time later, the Pentagon said, no, we don't think so.
There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States.
Okay, they'll tell you what it isn't, but what is it? Oh, they don't know. There's a lot of I don't know going on right now. A whole lot of people don't seem to know much about anything with regard to this. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy says these drones are sophisticated.
These are apparently as I understand it, very sophisticated. The minute you get eyes on them, they go dark. And, we're obviously most concerned about sensitive targets and sensitive critical infrastructure. So we've got military assets, we've got utility assets, we've got the president-elect's one of his homes here.
Yesterday, a big hearing on Capitol Hill, Representative Robert Pfluger was asking the Assistant Director of the FBI, Robert Wheeler, what are these drones? What's going on in New Jersey?
What is going on in New Jersey?
Sir, the FBI and our Newark field office, along with the state and local partners there, the Bureau is actively investigating the situation you mentioned, just the unexplained sighting of drone activity over that part of New Jersey, including proximity to sensitive sites and areas of concern. So we do not attribute that to an individual or a group yet. We're investigating, but I don't have an answer of who's responsible for that, of one or more people that are responsible for those drone flights. But we're actively investigating. It is concerning.
Is the public at risk? Is public safety at risk? Are we concerned that there are nefarious intentions that could cause either national security or a public safety incident that would put Americans at risk?
There's nothing that is known that would lead me to say that, but we just don't know.
Hold on just a minute. He says, look, are they dangerous? Do we need to be worried about these things? Should we be concerned? Well, we don't think so, but we don't really know what they are. How can you make the assertion that you don't think they're dangerous when you don't know what they are? I think that's a pretty fair question to ask of the FBI as they start to dig into this thing. Congressman Christopher Smith of New Jersey has gotten a briefing today, and here's what he says.
The number of them, the fact that they are so large, the fact that 50 of them came in off the ocean in Ocean County, which is where I was, and I talked, to several people who saw them coming in droves.
In droves, he said, coming in off the ocean. He said that, in fact, they at one point followed the Coast Guard.
The Coast Guard. A commander told me how between a dozen to 30 of them were following one of his 47-foot vessels right behind it. That's not, who does that? Are you kidding me? DOD doesn't have the capability. Are we that blind to a potential adversary? It does raise very serious questions.
Yeah, it raises questions, and he says we need to be more aggressive about all of this.
We better be really, really aggressive in deciphering who is deploying these.
Here's what Tony Gonzalez, a representative from the state of Texas.
I did have a conversation this morning with a high-level law enforcement official where we talked about the possibility of a mothership being there with the drones. I think the fact that we don't have definitive answers is worrisome. Sitting on the Appropriations Committee, I often ask, where is our money going? And then the other question is, if we don't know the answers, why? And when I got a response yesterday that said, the FBI only has a budget of $500,000 and Customs and Border Protection only has a budget of $0 for counter drones, this is a problem. And these threats are very real. Here we have, it's not as if a what if could happen to President Trump. This has already happened, and other threats have been circulated. The Iranians are surely always up to no good. It's just we have to keep our eye on the ball. And ultimately, the American people deserve to know what is happening, where their taxpayers' dollars going, and if they're not getting answers, well, how do we put resources towards making sure law enforcement has every instrument possible to keep us safe and and also, more important, probably ultimately important, keep the president of the United States or the incoming president of the United States, Trump, equally as safe.
What is going on with these drones? Do you have a theory? 615-737-9986. Love to have your thoughts about this. I mean, everybody loves a mystery. Let's start with Steve. Good afternoon, Steve. You're on with Brian. What do you think about this whole drone mess, man?
Well, hey, Brian, I got a question, because I remember in the 90s they had these military strike drones that were like 7 feet long and 4 feet wide, and now we got drones that are like 2 feet long and 1 foot wide. How big are these drones? Are these
this is
drones?
this is the interesting thing. There are reports that some of these drones are the size of an SUV. I mean, we're not talking about little toy drones. We're talking about substantial drones, the kind that we've seen would be on the monetary means of a hobbyist. And we're talking about a lot of drones, a ton of drones, and some of them very big. And they apparently can just fly with impunity right over military installations, and we can't do a thing about them. How is it we can't figure out where these things are going and where they're coming from and who's behind them? The military, sort of looks at it like, well, yeah, we're watching it. We don't know. FBI, yeah, we don't think they're dangerous, but we don't know. Local law enforcement, we don't have any resources to do this, to solve this problem. And they say, well, we don't think they're threatening. But if they can come in with impunity, what would stop somebody from weaponizing a drone and using it for nefarious purposes? I don't know, but these things are good size, Steve. They're not little toy drones, I tell you. All right, let's go to. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Steve. What was your thought?
I was just saying, very concerning, because in my mind, when I keep hearing these reports, I'm wondering, are these the size of them? So now that you're saying that they're these larger drones, I mean, those things can be used to carry out a military payload.
Yes, they can. Yes, I mean, that's apparently we are told that some of them are the size of an SUV. I have toyed around with drones as a hobbyist. I have a drone. I haven't flown it in a long time, but I have a little drone. I use it for aerial photography. I'm just sort of interested in photography as a hobby. And it's cool. It's fun. But, my little drone weighs about, 25, 28 ounces. It's a little tiny thing, right? Some of these, but when you're talking about a drone that's the size of an SUV, if it falls out of the sky, I think maybe that's why they don't want to shoot one down. What would it fall on? What kind of damage would be done on the ground? Phil, you're up next on the drive. Phil, tell me what your thought is. You have a theory?
Yep, Brad. I had a what-if question. They're saying they can't shoot them down, but what if 6 of them or 10 of them were flying above the White House? You telling me they wouldn't do anything about that? Or what about the Pentagon? And what's your thoughts on that?
Well, listen, this is the thing I worry about. Okay, let's talk about what's about to happen. January 20th. There could be, somewhere in the neighborhood of 500,000 to 1 million people on the mall for the inauguration. Can you imagine the chaos if an unidentified drone were to, and by the way, the closed airspace in D.C., you can't fly over D.C. But these things can fly over air bases. A year ago, they had a series of these drones that flew over a military installation in Virginia, and Virginia had a bunch of F-22s on the runway. Very sensitive stuff. And they were flying over there night after night after night, and the military never did figure out exactly what was going on a year ago. They don't have any idea now. John, you're up next on the drive. Tell me, John, do you have a theory, a particular idea about what this thing might be?
Well, depending on what country is sending these things over here, they could be a threat. They could be carrying an EMP attack device, like an electromagnetic pulse device. Probably not a drone that small, but certainly a Chinese balloon at that altitude could pose a great threat to the electrical grid here. So we shouldn't be letting anything fly over our country.
Exactly.
Secondly, there's no way that they don't know what these things are. A police helicopter could get up close to it and take a film of it, and I don't understand why we're left in the dark about this.
Yeah, one of the things that I will say this in defense of the local law enforcement authorities, this is way over their pay grade. They've never had to deal with something like this. They don't have the resources to have an anti-drone device, and there are some, the military has them, but they don't have the wherewithal to do something like that, nor do they have regulations that would allow them to shoot them down. Apparently, they're afraid that, if we do that, we're in violation of some regulation. We don't have the authority. A lot of people are looking around, who has authority to take this out? Well, it would seem that the military does, but they're not doing it. I mean, what are you going to use? A missile to take them out? Think about the collateral damage below ground if that happens. But if they're coming in from the ocean, why can't we be out there to meet them and splash them before they come ashore? That's the thing I don't understand. The military is capable of doing that for sure. Bailey, you're calling in. What's your idea there, Bailey? You got any ideas about where this thing may be coming from?
Well, I mean, the military, they don't know. What? I think it's our military. I mean, it's got to be our military. You can't act like, you are doing some crazy stuff with some crazy technology. You can't be, you gotta make the sheep go crazy, So that's what they're doing.
You think it's our military, right?
No, it is our military.
Well, the Pentagon.
Why haven't they shot it down? Because that stuff's expensive.
Yeah, our military has denied it, that it's of our nature. They say it's not from us. But look, this goes back like to it's sort of like in many ways. These are not UFOs. We know what they are. They're a technology we can identify. We just don't know where they're coming from. Remember all of those stories about these unidentified aerial phenomenon that were flying over places that we didn't have any kind of understanding of what they were or what they were doing? Pretty amazing stuff. If you're on the line, stay tuned. We'll be with you in just a moment. Right now, 22 past the hour. The folks at Restoration Wellness are leaders in advanced therapy treatments for arthrosis and chronic pain in Middle Tennessee. Chronic pain affects 20% of all adults in the U.S., and chronic pain increases with age, affecting nearly 50% of all adults over the age of 65. Don't let your chronic pain control your life. Restoration Wellness has the newest technology in joint injections, a minimally invasive treatment to relieve pain without needing surgery. Restoration Wellness joint injection treatments can help relieve anything from shoulder pain, hip pain, knee pain, and everything in between. They put together personalized treatment plans specific to your needs. Let the team at Restoration Wellness help you achieve your health goals this year. Call the Restoration Wellness team today at 615-470-8124 or visit them at their website, restorationwellnessmedspa.com, to book a consultation today. You're going to meet my friends Carly and Jamie, who will take great care of you like you're part of the family. So say goodbye to your chronic pain and get a new lease on life.
Hackers claim to have personal information of employees of a local school district. Looks like it might be the victim of a ransomware attack. We'll tell you about it at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States.
Well, that's what the Pentagon says. They have a lot of ideas about what it's not, but they don't seem to be knowing exactly what it is. I mean, I don't trust these assurances from people saying, "Oh, well, we don't think it's nefarious. We don't know what it is, but we don't think it's nefarious." Well, how can you make a claim like that when the first thing you admit is you don't know what it is? So, a fair question. What do you think it is? 615-737-9986. Jim, you're up next on the drive. You have any thoughts about this?
Well, for me, it seems like they can trace every other signal that's going through the United States, but they can't track down the signal that's controlling the drones.
Yeah, you got to wonder about that. I mean, if it's really sophisticated, it could be satellite controlled. I guess that's possible. Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of questions here. Like the drones don't fly forever without needing to recharge or refuel. So, where is that happening?
Exactly. And it's got to have some kind of control to, return home, I guess, to a low battery state.
Yep, exactly. Taylor, you're up next on the drive. You got a thought about this? Give me your theory.
Yeah, so, the size of these things and as far as they're traveling, those, like you mentioned earlier, they're not just your hobbyist drones. So that it makes you think that they're at least state sponsored, either ours or someone else's. But, when they say they've got eyes on them, that they go dark, what exactly do they mean by that? Are they not able to follow any of these?
And that apparently is one of the things that the governor has said is that you get them, you lock in on them and you start to look at them and they go dark. They just go dark. And, all the lights. So how do you track at night something that has no lights? That's, some of them are big, some of them are small. How do you track that? It's a really good question. This may be, non-nefarious, but if somebody who's, just, playing a big practical joke on people can pull this off, how easy would it be for our enemies on the world stage to pull off something like this that is nefarious? If that's what it is, who knows what it is? Tim, you're up next on the drive. Wrap it up for us. What do you think?
Hey, Brian. I think the military definitely knows more than what they're saying. They always do. But you were right. Earlier you said they have a range. These things have a range due to battery capacity. They could draw a circle around the location where it was spotted and check everything within that area. They've got a limited amount of time they can fly. At the very least, they could say that they're looking at that, they're honing in on the area, whatever. There's night vision. There's capabilities of tracking drones. You can track a drone with another drone. They're not saying everything that they know. I guarantee you that. The other thing that I want to say is you told an interesting story last week about a 70-something-year-old man that shot down a Walmart drone. I think it was you, or it may have been on the Matt Murphy show. That's going to be an interesting case now. You got congressmen and all kinds of people saying, shoot it down, shoot it down. This man did exactly that and now got arrested for it and is in a lot of serious trouble.
When I started flying drones, one of the things I learned is that they are considered aircraft and they fall under the purview of the FAA. You have to have a license or a registration to fly one. I had one. So, they were always registered. But I was told that if you shoot down a drone, you're shooting down what is equivalent to an aircraft. It's like shooting down a Cessna, and the FAA gets involved. I don't know, but that's what they told me. 5:30, great conversation, everybody. Time for the news.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes, and right now in Middle Tennessee. It appears the Rutherford County School District is the victim of a ransomware attack. It put out a statement today about a network disruption on November 25th, then being notified today that employee information has been posted online. The district says it is not information, or rather, it has no information to indicate any student data was compromised. It says it's working with national experts and law enforcement in the ongoing investigation. FBI Director Christopher Wray says he's leaving his post at the end of the Biden administration. Wray, appointed by then-President Trump, making the announcement at a town hall with FBI employees. The Senate still has to confirm Trump's pick for Wray's successor, former federal prosecutor Kash Patel. And more on what police say is evidence collected in connection with the man accused of killing the top executive of United Healthcare. He's being held without bail in Pennsylvania, awaiting extradition to New York City. Here's Chuck Severson.
The NYPD crime lab matched Luigi Mangione's fingerprints
with fingerprints that we found on both the water bottle and the Kind bar near the scene of the homicide.
Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch and the gun police say they found on Mangione.
We were able to match that gun to the 3 shell casings that we found in Midtown at the scene of the homicide.
Earlier Wednesday, Mangione's lawyer predicted to ABC News the cops would match the gun.
Election 2024, CBS News says multiple sources say President-elect Trump has invited Chinese President Xi Jinping to attend his inauguration next month. It's unclear if Xi accepted. A spokesperson for the Chinese embassy in Washington did not immediately comment. And turning to sports, Bill Belichick is the new head coach of North Carolina football. The Athletic reporting the 8-time Super Bowl champion agreed to a 3-year, $30 million deal. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, let's start here on the East Bank, where there is a crash, 24 eastbound at exit 47A. Then 40 westbound right there at I-24. And in Robertson County, the White House area, we've got a crash reported 65 northbound between exits 108 and 112. Montgomery County, an accident reported in Clarksville, 24 eastbound near MLK Parkway. Then in Jolton, injury accident, 24 eastbound after Whites Creek Pike. And back here in Nashville, got the off-ramp partially blocked by a crash, 24 westbound, the off-ramp to Briley Parkway South. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, as much as we'd like it to be the case, there is really no easy way to solve back pain. And, if you have back pain, what that really is pressure on your nerves. And, we wish there was some pill or spinal cream that magically solved the problem, but there's not. In most cases, if you have back pain, you have a couple of choices: surgery, or you could pursue what I did, non-invasive spinal decompression. The Wellness Institute of Nashville has all of the tools to do this. They're state-of-the-art facilities. They have the latest high-tech equipment, and they offer the latest non-surgical procedures. Because getting better is important to Dr. Kevin Mitchell and Dr. Ashley. They're offering half off spinal decompression treatments and half off the KT machine, which is sort of like spinal decompression for the knee. Now, if you're a new patient, get this. You get an exam. You get a consultation time with the doc. You'll come up with a treatment plan, and you'll get your first treatment. All of that cost you only $23. Then after that, half off spinal decompression treatments, right? I'm Brian Wilson, and I put my stamp of approval on the Wellness Institute of Nashville. So call them today at 615-246-5009 and learn more at painisbad.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about Spice and Easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
There it is. The festive music means it's time for the three amigos to gather, and gather we will. Today, amigo number one is Ken Weaver in the newsroom. Hello, Ken.
Good evening, boys. Yeah.
Chris Weber is off today. Jeff Malinoff is in his place. Good afternoon to you, Jeff.
Good afternoon.
And I am Brian Wilson. You let the music go. I love the festive music.
Oh, okay. Next tomorrow I'll do it better.
Yeah, you got to fade it out slower because that's anyway. Nitpicking for sure. Listen, yesterday I got to talking about stuff and we never did get to some of your things, so I'm gonna let you guys start today. Ken, what do you got to bring to the table today?
Well, I just pulled this up from an outfit by the name of Fox 5. They have a whole segment of weird news, and
Fox 5 in D.C.
I believe that is. I believe it's
I used
in
to work
DC.
there. Yeah.
Well, this is weird and very unfortunate. Actress dies after consuming amphibian's venom at a spiritual cleansing retreat. A Mexican actress is dead after voluntarily participating in a spiritual cleansing ritual during which she reportedly consumed poisonous Amazonian frog venom. The actress...
Good Lord, she's doing some toad licking there.
Apparently so.
Crazy.
33-year-old Marcela Alcazar Rodriguez took some of the poison as part of a spiritual cleansing retreat that some South American natives have used for toxic cleansing. She apparently started expelling the venom in all ways. I'm not going to go into details.
Don't get too graphic, right.
So she refused help at first while feeling ill, but then eventually gave in when her friend visited her and her condition worsened. She basically said, "You need to go see a doctor." Apparently, the death was confirmed by her friends that it apparently followed what they said was this spiritual cleansing where you basically licked the secretions of a frog.
Yeah, I remember back, we're hearing stories back in the crazy 60s about people, who were in the psychedelic drugs and LSD and all that kind of stuff. They were talking about licking toads.
Yeah.
And that they had some kind of psychotropic effect on the brain, and it was a thing for a while. It's because you can't have LSD, but you could have a toad.
Yeah. Apparently that's legal. But
toad's not illegal as far as I know.
The extreme cases of these people desperate to get a high is absurd.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's
well,
crazy.
I find it interesting that it was a spiritual cleansing. Apparently, she got it out of the way right before she went to meet the maker.
Wow.
Lord.
Yeah. I hope her spirit was clean.
I tell you what, you don't mess with frogs. I mean, I've had dogs that would try to eat just a regular American toad, and they regretted it immediately.
Yep.
Yeah, they're covered in bacteria. It's not even the ones that are poisonous. They're always covered in something that's not for the body.
Yeah, I mean, taking Fritz out in the spring, he goes after them, and I'm no, sir.
I had a pet frog one time named Herman. When I was a kid, we went to Oklahoma, and we went to a pond, and my dad said, look, there's a frog, and he caught this frog, and it was a leopard frog. It was a beautiful frog.
Yeah,
and I said, can I keep him as a pet? And he said, yes. So we put him in the car and brought him back to Texas. Nobody in Texas, in West Texas, there are no frogs. There's some, there's some tadpoles and some, I guess some little toads or something, but there aren't, leopard frog was a neat thing.
Mm-hmm.
I took it to school for show and tell. I was the hit of the entire school talking about the frog.
How big did it get?
I don't know. Then one day we decided that my mom got tired of the smell of the frog in my room. And my dad, she apparently got on my dad about it. Why did you let him bring that frog home? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, and so then I had to let the frog go at a local pond. He was a lonely leopard frog. He was the only leopard frog in that part of Texas.
And late at night,
What is this little dinosaur jumping around?
Late at night, you could hear womp, womp, womp.
Yeah, I kept trying to find bugs to eat them, but I don't think that they ate the bugs I brought him. So,
well, I hope Herman lived a long.
I hope he did too. I always wondered whatever happened to Herman.
That's the name of a movie if I ever heard of it.
Yeah. Herman, the misplaced frog.
Anyway, stay away from licking toads and frogs, folks.
All right, Jeff, your turn. What you got, bud?
So this happened over the weekend, but I want to take you back to the 20s. Babe Ruth signed a 2-year, $150,000 contract, and it was said no one would ever make more. Well, this weekend, someone made a lot more. Juan Soto was a New York Yankee. He signed with the rival Mets. 15 years, $765 million. $75 million at signing included. $51 million a year for the net till 2040.
Now, this guy must be really
the
good.
highest contract in the history of sports just happened.
Wow. And I have to say, I don't follow Major League Baseball at all. And people who do are fanatical about it. Mm-hmm. That's why they get the word fan. They're fanatical about it. So tell me about this guy.
Yeah.
So he's a good player. He's definitely a guy that the Yankees went to the World Series, and he was a huge part of that. He was actually supposed to sign a contract years ago with the Washington Nationals when he was good with them. He went to a World Series and helped them win. He was supposed to sign this 14 years, $400 million contract and turned it down. And everyone thought he was crazy for it. Now, 3 years later, he's making $400 million extra.
Yeah,
so
he doubled it.
He held out at the right time, and now this is leading to, in the next 5 to 10 years, I would say that around 10, expect $1 billion contract. That's where this is leading. If someone is that good, it would not surprise me 10 years from now, in 2035, some guy signs a 15-year, $1 billion contract.
But I saw that movie Moneyball, and one of the things that I learned in watching that movie was that there are franchises who just don't have that kind of money.
See, that's the problem.
And there are some that do, and there's sort of an inequity in the system. If you've got the money and you can pay, you get the best talent, and if you don't, then you're going to always be sort of in the cellar.
Yeah, and he was very smart. His stock was at an all-time high. He was seen to be one of the better players in baseball, and he cashed in on it very good. And same thing. So the New York Mets have their owner is the wealthiest of all the owners, so that's why they could afford that much too.
Wow.
And so the Yankees actually offered him around that much, but the Mets offered him more.
So what makes him so good? What?
He's just a good hitter, power hitter. He's got that long ball. He's a great fielder as well. He's got defense. He's got offense. He just has what you want. And what happens is he delivers in the playoffs.
Okay.
And that's what every team wants. You can do well in the regular season, but if you can't get it done in the playoffs, then you're 88 and out the gate. So he gets it done in the playoffs. Like he was great in this postseason that helped them get to the World Series. They lost to the Dodgers, but the Dodgers are absurdly wealthy as well. So it was just a little better team. But he was a bright spot in a great Yankees team, and just sometimes that's what you need.
Man,
wow, that's a ton of money. That's a ton of money.
760. So $51 million a year for 15 years.
I just take one. I just need one.
Yeah, me too,
Well,
man.
granted, he is taking New York taxes, so I think that has to do with why it's so high up. Because again, that's 51 million. It's probably be around 35 million.
That'd be a deal breaker.
Again, that doesn't sound bad. But in your head, you're like, oh, I just lost $20 million in taxes.
Yeah.
It's a little like, oh, that kind of sucks.
Wow, that's rough. That's paying that kind of taxes. I've written some tax checks before, but that one would hurt.
Yes, sir.
All right, my story is about, it's really not about anything weird. It's just something I didn't know.
Okay.
And it's about garlic. The thing about garlic is you eat it and then you smell like garlic, right?
Yeah.
My family grew up where the Garlic Festival happens every year in Gilroy, California.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, apparently, I'm reading a story here today, and I just thought it was interesting that, the ancients, the Egyptians, the French, the Russians, they all knew that garlic had these magical properties. Garlic was known by the Russians as the Russian penicillin, because Russian physicians used it for a long time for treatment of respiratory tract diseases. And anyway, with the basic part of this story is, they say that if you eat something known as AGE, AGE, aged garlic extract, there are many proven health benefits of garlic. It boosts the immune system. According to Very Well Health, garlic contains potassium, zinc, phosphorus, sulfur, to help fight infectious diseases by boosting the immune system. AGE can be even more effective enhancing immunity since it's made by soaking garlic in a liquid, which increases disease-fighting compounds. It can prevent cold and flus, according to Healthline, shown promise as a treatment for preventing cold and flu. One study, 146 healthy men and women took garlic supplements or a placebo for 3 months. The garlic group had a 63% lower risk of getting a cold.
Well,
that's pretty impressive right there.
I tell you what, after the last bout I had, I'm definitely going to increase my garlic intake.
Yeah, no, it's got to be aged garlic extract. That's what you got to get, apparently. Although some people say if you just eat a clove of garlic a day, it really can help you. I don't know. Another study found that colds were significantly shorter for subjects who took the AGE every day during cold and flu season compared with the placebo group. It fights inflammation, says a cardiologist, shown potent anti-inflammatory properties.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. One of the benefits we believe of the statin drug is to in part reduce your cardiovascular risk and health is their anti-inflammatory property. We're now seeing that age has a similar effect on inflammation. So quit taking, I don't know I wouldn't tell you to quit taking a drug the doctor's told you to take. Talk that over with your doctor. But what if you could replace the medicine you're taking with a clove of garlic?
Interesting.
Especially if it's cheaper.
Yeah, it protects against certain cancers. Garlic has major antioxidant properties that help ward off cancer. Eating one fresh clove of garlic a day or taking AGE may lower your risk of breast, esophageal, stomach, bowel, and prostate cancer. I've never imagined
Thank
that.
God my mom makes everything with garlic.
Yeah, that's the good news. You eat some garlic, you might live longer. The bad news is you may be alone. 50 minutes now past the hour. You know, there's a lot of diagnoses out there and a pill for just about everything, but not all diagnoses are accurate and not all pills are good for you. When you get a diagnosis for European auto repair, you should stop and get a second opinion before you make a major decision. And Eurofix is the home of second opinions. Don't spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars on European vehicle repair from a diagnosis you got somewhere else. Go to Eurofix. Might save your vehicle's life, could save you a lot of money. At Eurofix, you get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection with an estimate at every visit. No high-pressure sales tactics. At Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. At Eurofix, you never pay dealer prices. Located in Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now their newest location, Mount Juliet. Just call this number, 844-EUROFIX, or visit myEurofix.com and tell them your friend and radio buddy Brian Wilson sent you.
The Rutherford County School District out with a statement. Apparently the victim of a ransomware attack. We'll tell you about it at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 57 minutes now past the hour coming up. It's so important to stay on top of what's happening in Washington right now. Sure, we won the election, and sure, we got the House and Senate. But you know what? The work is not done until you get the administration in place. Transition stuff is important, and there were major developments today. I'll talk about that coming up in just a few moments on Super Talk.
Six o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. And right now in Middle Tennessee, the Rutherford County School District out with a statement after being targeted in a ransomware attack. The district says it's investigating whether employee data was taken during a network disruption on November 25th. News 2 says an auction web page with the logo of the hacker group Ricetta was posted on the dark web today. It's a 7-day auction site, and it listed a price of 20 Bitcoin, or about $2 million, as the price for this data. The hackers posted several documents from what they called exclusive, unique, and impressive data, and one of those documents appears to belong to a current Rutherford County Schools teacher. Now, Rutherford County Schools says it has no indication any student data was compromised, and it's working with national experts and law enforcement in this ongoing investigation. Mystery drones. New Jersey Congressman Chris Smith telling ABC News he's hearing from alarmed constituents reporting swarms of drones flying over his home state.
We better be really, really aggressive in deciphering who is deploying these.
Yeah, Smith says he believes the drones are from a hostile actor, but earlier today, a Pentagon spokesperson said they have no evidence that these activities are coming from a foreign entity or adversary, but offered no indication as to what the Pentagon thinks they might be. Might be a job for the FBI, but Director Christopher Wray telling Bureau employees today he's going to leave his post.
After weeks of careful thought, I've decided the right thing for the Bureau is for me to serve until the end of the current administration in January and then step down.
Comes almost 2 weeks after President-elect Trump announced his plan to nominate Kash Patel for director, effectively firing Wray, who was appointed by President Trump and had 3 years left in his 10-year term. And the man accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson being held without bail in Pennsylvania, awaiting extradition to New York City. NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch confirming matches investigators have made as they gather evidence against Luigi Mangione, arrested this week with a weapon.
We got the gun in question back from Pennsylvania. It's now at the NYPD crime lab. We were able to match that gun to the 3 shell casings that we found in Midtown at the scene of the homicide.
She says they were also able to match Mangione's fingerprints found on a water bottle and Kind Bar wrapper near the crime scene. Social media disruption. Users have reported widespread issues with Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, WhatsApp, and Threads today. No additional details immediately available from Meta, who says they're working on it. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, several crashes right now. We've got the left lane blocked 24 eastbound right after Whites Creek Pike in Jolton. A vehicle fire blocking the right lane 24 westbound right before Briley Parkway North. The crash there at Demonbreun Street west of I-40. Then the on-ramp partially blocked by a crash 24 eastbound from eastbound Briley Parkway. 24 eastbound near MLK Parkway in Clarksville. And then I-40 eastbound before White Bridge Pike and Briley Parkway West. That'll be exit 204. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
After weeks of careful thought, I've decided the right thing for the Bureau is for me to serve until the end of the current administration in January, and then step down.
So Christopher Wray had made it official today that he will be stepping down in January before Donald Trump becomes the next president of the United States. That answers one big question. Was Trump going to have to fire him, or was he going to step down? I mean, clearly, the Trump had some ideas about that because he's already nominated Kash Patel to lead the FBI. He was asked this weekend, are you going to fire Wray? And he's sort of a stupid question, really.
It would sort of seem pretty obvious that if Cash gets in, he's going to be taking somebody's place, right? And somebody is the man that you're talking about.
I mean, obviously, if you've chosen somebody else, you got to know that your job is on the line, that one way or the other, you can go out on your terms or you can go out on somebody else's terms. So Christopher Wray, the person who has been accused of overseeing the weaponization of the FBI, announces that he will be leaving just before Donald Trump arrives in Washington. He addressed the troops today to talk about this.
Now, it should go without saying, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyways. This is not easy for me. I love this place. I love our mission, and I love our people. But my focus is, and always has been, on us and on doing what's right for the FBI. You, the men and women of the FBI, are why the Bureau will endure and remain successful long, long into the future. Because when you look at where the threats are headed, it is clear that the importance of our work protecting the American people and upholding the Constitution will not change. My goal is to keep the focus on our mission, on the indispensable work each of you is doing every single day.
You know, FBI directors get a 10-year tenure generally, but very few of them, it seems, to make 10 years anymore. Something happens because you serve at the pleasure of the president, and there's no rule that says you can't fire some guy as you come in and get somebody else that you think will do the job better. Kash Patel is the guy who that President Trump has chosen to take over that job. And now today, officially, the FBI director announces that he will be leaving just before the inauguration. You know, these transition battles, I've covered a lot of them over the years. It is important to stay on focus on what's going on. To my mind, it seems to me that the Trump nominees who've been making their way around the Senate, you see, the Senate has advice and consent responsibility. They have to sign off on these nominees. It looks like they're doing pretty well. Pete Hegseth, who, friend of this program, is now up to be the new Secretary of Defense. It's been an interesting confirmation process. A lot of, anonymous allegations leveled against him. It looked like he was on the ropes there for a while. But he met today with one of the people who he really has to convince, Susan Collins of Maine, and reporters were standing outside the office when he emerged.
It was a great meeting with Senator Collins. And again, at office after office, having the opportunity to spend time with these senators who have invested their careers in ensuring that our warfighters get what they need has been an amazing educational process, and Senator Collins, like her colleagues before her, reiterated that. And it was a wonderful conversation. We focused on what needs to be done to make sure this Pentagon is focused on warfighting and lethality, and we look forward to staying in touch with her.
Did you chair the Appropriations Committee?
I'm certainly not going to assume anything about where the senator stands. This is a process that we respect and appreciate, and we hope through time, overall, when we get through that committee and to the floor, that we can earn her support. But it's about earning support in this process.
Yeah, you got to get 50 votes. I mean, and there's going to be in the new Senate, there's going to be 53 Republican senators. We're going to control that body, but you got to get, 50 out of 53. Now, the three who have been talked about as potential no votes, Susan Collins of Maine, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, maybe Joni Ernst. She seems to be coming on board. There's, by the way, a concerted effort to run ads in the states of the senators who will be making these decisions. Susan Collins, after her meeting with Pete Hegseth, said the following.
We covered a wide range of topics.
ranging from defense procurement reforms to the role of women in the military, sexual assault in the military, Ukraine, NATO, a wide range of issues.
Yeah, but when she was pressed as to, well, are you going to vote for him or not, she said, well, I'm very anxious to let the process work its way out. And, there's going to be confirmation hearings, and we'll be watching those and see what emerges. She didn't say no, but she's not a solid yes. Another person that's in that category, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska.
I had a good exchange with Mr. Hegseth.
Are you ready to support him?
I had a good exchange, and we'll see what the process bears.
What more are you looking to learn?
Well, he's got probably at least half the Senate that he's going to visit with. He's got a process that is going to involve full vetting through the administration and then ultimately a committee.
All right, got to go through committee, got to get it to the floor. When it gets to committee, you can have a recommendation, or you can have a negative recommendation, or you can have no recommendation. But it will go to the floor, and it seems to me like things are working out. Here's Senator John Thune talking about the process and a little bit about Pete Hegseth.
A lot of these nominees, including Pete Hegseth, have been making the rounds on the Capitol, starting with the committees of jurisdiction that will have responsibility for the confirmation process and ensure that their nominations make it eventually to the floor. And I think the nominees are doing a really nice job. I mean, Pete Hegseth, in his conversations, I think, with members, has been very compelling in terms of what he believes is necessary to put the real, focus on the war fighter when it comes to the Defense Department's priorities. As you heard Susan Collins talk about procurement reform, that's something that's important to a lot of our members. And, he's got the background. He's a combat veteran. He's obviously somebody who understands what it takes to fight battles on the ground, and I think that's a perspective that is very impressive to a lot of the members that he's had the opportunity to meet with so far and to be questioned by. I think that the Trump nominees are approaching this the right way. They're coming in, they've been very open and candid and subjecting themselves to lots of questions from lots of senators from different parts of the country who have different perspectives on these issues and want to hear from them about their vision for the jobs that they've been nominated for. And I think the important thing here is President Trump needs his team in place to be able to implement his agenda. These are the people that he selected. I give wide latitude and wide deference to the president when he makes these selections. We have a job to do, advice and consent, and we will do it and make sure that there's a process that's fair to all these nominees.
And so it looks like most of the Republicans are getting in line or being pressured to do so. Looks like everybody, including Hegseth, are probably going to get through. I don't see anybody, it'd be interesting to see what happens with Tulsi Gabbard. It seems like the Democrats have the long knives out for her. Maybe RFK Jr., he's a bit controversial in some quarters. A lot of people like him, but a lot of people have concerns about him. But one way or the other, they're going to have hearings. Now, about these hearings, they're going to be, some of them are going to be butt ugly. I mean, they're going to be ugly as homemade sin. They're going to come after the Democrats are in a big way. And so you're going to hear a lot of things thrown around. But at the end of the day, if Pete Hegseth, for example, goes in and sits down before that committee and they start pulling that stuff on him, I have no doubt that he can defend himself quite equitably. He's good on his feet. He apparently has been able to take in these meetings some senators that were on the fence and turn them around. I don't think I can recall in all the years I covered confirmation battles, and I've tried to figure out roughly how many I've covered. I know I've covered at least 50, and probably more than that. So I know what it's like. Not all of them are controversial. Not all of them are all really that big a deal. They're more like a rubber stamp. But some of the big fights over the years I've been there for them. I was there for Bork. I was there for Clarence Thomas. I was there for John Tower. And I was there, for Brett Kavanaugh. And those are Supreme Court nominees, a lot of them, but still the process is the same. And I've seen some ugliness, and I've seen allegations being cast around, and I've seen people on the ropes, and I've seen more than a few that have fallen by the wayside and never got to a committee hearing. But I don't think I can ever recall someone who has turned it around better than Pete Hegseth. He was on the ropes. You know, if you were listening to me last week, I came on and I told you on Tuesday, I said, I'm not sure this guy's going to make it. I mean, it's a very fluid and dynamic situation. And I'm hearing some things that from certain senators that sounds like Pete Hegseth's nomination might be in trouble. But now everybody seems to think he's answered those questions. A great story about this in Breitbart. Pete's big week. How Hegseth turned his confirmation fight around in only 7 days. Just a week ago, Trump Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth's confirmation appeared doomed after a barrage of hit pieces. However, after launching an intense campaign to defend himself, he now appears to be on a path toward confirmation. By last Monday, things did not look so good. No fewer than 4 hit pieces had dropped, one after another, just as Hegseth began to meet with senators responsible for confirming him. They were all based on anonymous allegations, some 10 years old, but the pileup became too much to ignore. Republican senators began expressing doubt. On Tuesday, Lindsey Graham called the allegations disturbing. Sensing blood in the water, Senator Richard Blumenthal, a Democrat of Connecticut, told reporters that 5 to 10 Republicans opposed Hegseth confirmation but were waiting for the right time to come out. And indeed, a bipartisan group of senators on the Armed Services Committee, the panel responsible for advancing Hegseth's nomination to the full Senate, expressed doubts about Hegseth and began floating Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa as a potential alternative. The Wall Street Journal reported that President-elect Donald Trump was even considering replacing Hegseth with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and called Wednesday a make-or-break day for Hegseth. Other corporate news organizations followed suit. On Wednesday, Joni Ernst issued a terse post on X after meeting with Hegseth saying she appreciated his service and they had a frank and thorough discussion. But Wednesday was also the day that Hegseth began fighting back. He began telling reporters he had no plans to withdraw the nomination. And that spoke directly to Trump and the president, that he had spoke directly to Trump and that the president-elect told him he was with him all the way. He went on the Megyn Kelly Show podcast and addressed in detail every single anonymous allegation leveled at him. At the same time, Hegseth's former co-workers, friends, and supporters began rallying behind him, with several dozens going on the record to dispute the allegations. He even got his mother, Penelope Hegseth, to appear on Fox and Friends to defend her son and retract an angry email she had sent to him in 2018 when he was in the midst of divorce proceedings. The next day, Hegseth continued his meeting with senators and took his fight to social media, and it began to turn around. Yeah, I mean, I think that hallway interview that he did where he explained some things, I think his appearance on Megyn Kelly where he took all the tough questions, gave people a view that they had not seen of Pete Hegseth, and he had reasonable expectations. He said, look, in some of these cases, there is a small nugget of truth to them, but it's not all that has been painted to be. And people, he had his explanations for what was going on, and they seemed to make sense to people. It also helped that there was a major campaign going on behind the scenes, allegedly funded by Elon Musk, to make sure that the senators in key states who will have an up or down vote on Hegseth are being told that the people want Hegseth in that position. So it looks like he's going to get in. But again, I'll have to say kudos to Pete for turning this thing around, handled masterfully. I must say, I don't ever think I've seen one get so far in the weeds and then it get turned around so quickly. Everything done exactly right. It's a textbook case of how to manage one of these nominations, and he's done a great job. 21, almost 22 past the hour of 6 o'clock. You know, the folks at Stoltzco are the people you need to talk to if you're in the market for a pole barn. You know, the two brothers that run them are guys that know about exceptional quality, craftsmanship, and fair prices. And they can build your new pole barn to your specifications with your needs in mind. That is the Stoltzco difference. But a question, have you got some land that you haven't done anything with? Why not do something with that land? Why not invest in that land? Build a structure on it. Maybe you want to build a barn dominium. That's a barn you live in. They're very cool and very much in demand right now. Build one. You can go there on weekends. Then maybe, you retire there. Who knows? Pole barns can be used for a lot of things. They can be garages. They can be places for your livestock. They can be an equestrian barn or an equestrian space. You can even build an event space and rent it out on the weekends. A lot of things you can do. Just do me this favor, please. Go to Stoltzco.com, STOLTZCO.com. Take a look at what they've done for other people, and then give them a call, 615-622-5992. Learn more by going online again at Stoltzco.com. That's Stoltzco.com.
Hackers claim to have data on a local school district's employees. We'll tell you about it at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, Ken Weaver. We'll be looking for that in a few moments. I was talking about the confirmation process and the appointment that Donald Trump are making. This is an interesting one. A little gossip behind it, okay? Kimberly Guilfoyle. You may remember her from Fox. She was the fiancée of Donald Trump Jr., or I should say was, not is, was. And she's been appointed to be the ambassador to Greece amid tabloid reports that Donald Trump Jr. wants to, be rid of her as his fiancée. I don't know, that may be a little harsh. Statement Tuesday evening. The president-to-be said that for many years, Kimberly has been a close friend and ally. Her extensive experience and leadership in law, media, and politics, along with sharp intellect, make her supremely qualified to represent the United States and safeguard its interests abroad. There may be one other factor at play. Earlier on Tuesday, tabloid outlets reported that Donald Trump Jr. has been seen holding hands with another woman and is on the splits with Miss Guilfoyle. It's been whispered for a while now. The Trump family does not want to create an enemy of Kimberly, one unnamed insider told the gossip site Radar Online. They are concerned about what damage she could do, but make no mistake, the romance is over. The unnamed source went on to say that the Trump family felt that Mrs. Guilfoyle liked the idea of being a Trump more than she liked Don Jr. Photos from the Daily Mail show the soon-to-be first son spending time with socialite Bettina Anderson in West Palm Beach, going out to dinner with her and spending time at her house. Miss Anderson has been dropping hints of her new relationship with photos to her Instagram account for a while. So there you have that. Mr. Trump had reportedly not been spotted with his fiancée since November 12th. They had been engaged since December of 2020. And very quickly, Lara Trump, stepping down as the RNC co-chair. She's been named in the mix for Marco Rubio's Senate seat. Listen, I will tell you this. She did a great job at the RNC. I mean, she didn't do it alone, but she really kind of got in there and turned that place around. She became basically the face of the RNC. She took that organization and whipped it into shape so that there was a big victory on Election Day. And so now apparently the rumor floating around, and it is rumor at this point, is that Ms. Trump's name has been floated as a replacement for Marco Rubio, who, as you know, has been appointed by Donald Trump to become the Secretary of State. So there you go. I don't know exactly what it's all going to end up looking like, but I wouldn't be surprised if Lara Trump becomes the replacement for Marco Rubio in the United States Senate. It's 6:30 now. Time for Ken Weaver in the news.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Hackers claiming to have Rutherford County School District employee information. The district says there was a network disruption on November 25th. Then they were notified this morning employee information has been posted online. The district says it is unaware of any student information being compromised or posted online and says it's continuing to work with national experts and law enforcement in the investigation. New developments in the chair-throwing case of country music superstar Morgan Wallen. Fox 17 says charges of felony reckless endangerment and disorderly conduct have been reduced to misdemeanors ahead of his court appearance tomorrow morning. The CMA Entertainer of the Year winners arrested in April after Metro officers claimed Wallen threw a chair from the top of the Broadway bar Chiefs, landing just a few feet away from officers standing below. Money News, Michelle Franzen.
Stocks ended up mixed on reports that inflation rose 2.7% in November from a year earlier, exactly as forecasted. The uptick appears to clear the way for the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates again next week. The Dow Jones dropping 99 points, the S&P up 49, and the NASDAQ composite climbed 348 points, a new record. President-elect Donald Trump is expected to ring the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange Thursday, a first for him. The Bank of Canada cut its interest rate by 0.5 percentage point Wednesday, highlighting the risk of Trump's threat of 25% tariffs on all Canadian products. The European Union is slapping Russia with new sanctions, this time targeting a fleet of oil tankers and their owners that routinely flout restrictions on transporting fuel and oil. And more artificial intelligence for the latest iPhones. Apple today released a free software update that lets users create customized emojis in a matter of seconds.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, working a crash right now, 24 eastbound, right after Whites Creek Pike. That's going to be exit 35, the left lane block there in Jolton. Then 24 westbound, right before Briley Parkway North. That's going to be a stalled vehicle with the right shoulder block there in Whites Creek. And then over here in Hermitage, got a crash reported 40 eastbound at Stewart's Ferry Pike. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, got some big news from the folks at DT McCall. If you're thinking about buying a gun safe, and boy, you know, wouldn't Dad love to have that as a Christmas gift? Think about that. It would be just perfect. Gun safes are sales tax free at DT McCall's. Sales tax free. It's hunting season, so be sure you're keeping your guns safe when you're not in the tree stand with the Liberty Gun Safe from DT McCall. DT McCall's has the largest Liberty Safe dealer in all of Tennessee, and it's because of their policy on delivery and setup. Others charge $500 at least for delivery and setup of the big models and $300 for the smaller models. DT McCall and Son delivers every safe free every time, period. Never a setup charge. Security is important these days, and a Liberty Gun Safe from DT McCall's can be used for valuables, cash, jewelry, important documents, wills, deeds, car titles, whatever you need to keep safe from theft or fire. So save some big bucks now on your Liberty Gun Safe when you shop at your local DT McCall's. Go to dtmccalls.com for location and information. It's 37 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. I'm Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy. And I'm glad that you're with us. If you're getting home and, fighting the traffic, hang in there. Hang in there. Let me give you a little information about some things that I think you'll find interesting. This is really good. The president-elect will be ringing the New York Stock Exchange opening bell. I guess it's going to be tomorrow, the 12th. And a source familiar with told the Post after weeks of the landslide fueled by voters concerned about the economy, the ringing of the bell in the morning signals the opening of the day's trading, an honor bestowed in the past on celebrities and U.S. presidents alike, and will coincide with the once and future president apparently being declared. Are you ready for this? Stunned, shocked, and amazed I am. Apparently, according to a number of reports, Donald Trump will be named Time Magazine's Person of the Year. Yeah. Well, I mean, can you think of anybody who's had a greater impact on the news? I can't. The event will undoubtedly, according to the New York Post, have symbolic personal significance for Trump, a native New Yorker and businessman who made his fortune in the city. He spent most of his time after winning the 2024 election at his Mar-a-Lago estate, has rarely gone to New York. But his lawyers are now trying to throw out the case there. But he says he loves the Big Apple and hopes to usher in an era of renewal during his second term. Incoming First Lady Melania Trump and the 45th president's youngest son are both residing in Trump Tower in Manhattan as the 18-year-old attends New York University. The soon-to-be 47th president said he will usher in a golden age for the U.S. economy as well. And it will be a big day, ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange on the same day that apparently, according to many, many reports, Time Magazine will name him Person of the Year. Now, Time Magazine was called, this is not really a magazine anymore, it's time.com, right? It's a website, really. I don't think they print a magazine anymore. But one way or the other, it's still a thing to be named Person of the Year. Everybody looks at it every year, wondering who's going to be named Person of the Year, who's going to be named. Well, apparently, according to several sources, although Time has not confirmed it, it will be Donald Trump. So there is that. How are people feeling about the post-election? Well, I got a CNN poll here I think is pretty interesting. Take it for what it's worth. But according to CNN, 55% of Americans are approving of Trump's transition. Now, we're a 50-50 nation, pretty much. Talking spitball, 50-50. So knowing that we got about 55% approval, that's a little better than you might expect. But I got to tell you, I think it's going amazingly well. I really do. And Americans apparently are pleased. If you get a 55 approval rating, that's a big deal. And so it seems that even though he probably only got 50% of the vote, at least a few people have been convinced that he's doing things that they like. This story from FoxNews.com. Voters feel hopeful post-election and want Trump to focus on inflation. They did a big poll. A month after Donald Trump's presidential victory, more voters feel positive than negative about the election results. In a new Fox News poll, voters were given a list of words to describe how they felt about the election outcome. At least half say they are hopeful, 54%, relieved, 50%. Just under half feel excited, 48%. 4 in 10 say they are depressed. 39% say they are angry. About half are scared or surprised, 50%. Most Republicans feel hopeful, 91%, relieved, 90%, excited, 86%. And as you might expect, Democrats are scared, 77% say they're scared. 69% say they are angry. 68% say they are depressed. Bless their little pea-picking hearts. These results are similar to those how voters felt in 2016 after Trump first was elected. So the decrease in the number feeling hopeful and increase in those feeling depressed is primarily driven by Democrats and independents. The fact that hopeful is the top emotion about the election outcome mostly reflects the deep partisan divide in the country, but notably 1 in 5 Democrats is hopeful, 20%, said Democrat pollster Chris Anderson, who conducts the Fox News survey along with Republican Darren Shaw. While it's a stretch to say that means Trump can bridge the partisan divide, it may reflect that at least some Democrats think he can make progress in certain areas, most likely inflation and border security, the top voting issues of the year. The poll released Wednesday also digs into how people feel the Trump administration will handle certain issues and what the priorities should be. According to the 2024 Fox News Voter Analysis Election Survey, 4 in 10 voters say the economy is the most important issue facing the country and that inflation was the single most important factor for their vote. Both groups backed Trump by at least 20 points. The new survey finds the economy remains the most important issue, 34%. Immigration, border security, a distant second, 21%. No other issue reached double digits, including abortion, 7%, which was the top issue all year, which at least was a top issue. Voters are clear that Trump should focus on tackling inflation, as 60% say it is extremely important that he lower the price of food and gas. Next would be cutting taxes for people. 47% say that's extremely important. Followed by strengthening national defense, 42%. Deporting illegal immigrants, 38%. Reducing the size of government, 29%. Ending diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, 29%. Decreasing aid to Ukraine, 26%. Increasing tariffs, 20%. Increasing aid to Israel, 18%. Cutting taxes for large businesses, 16%. The only issue to have partisan agreement is the desire of the American people to have prices lowered. Nearly half of Democrats and 69% of Republicans and independents, 63%, say it's important for Trump to get this done. Wouldn't that be great? And, you know, there's some things he can do, by the way, I think that will help. Democrats' priorities are lowering prices, cutting taxes for individuals. For Republicans, it's lowering prices and deportation. 65% of Republicans want deportation. For independents, it's prices, 63%, cutting taxes for individuals, 50%. The pollster said these data provide a blueprint for how Trump can win the first 100 days. Getting prices under control, easing the tax burden on individual Americans, and strengthening national defense, that is the list that a lot of people would be pleased to see accomplished. These numbers present opportunities for Trump, says Shaw. Voters do not necessarily have high expectations for the president-elect on key aspects of the economy. If he reassures them on the commitment to democratic and free speech norms and advances policies that bring down prices and lower individual tax burden, he could significantly improve his standing. On cabinet picks, polls ask if they would vote to confirm the nominees or not if they were serving the U.S. Senate. Marco Rubio got the highest rating. Voters would confirm him for Secretary of State by 11 points. 46% said yes, 35% no. Next is Robert Kennedy Jr., +5 on the yes column. Pam Bondi for Attorney General, +5. Scott Bessent for Secretary of the Treasury, +5. So voters are split over Tulsi Gabbard and Kristi Noem. I think she's still, I hate to say it, I think Kristi Noem would be a great Secretary of Homeland Security, but I think people really got irritated with her about that dog thing. I hate to say it, but I think it's still dogging her. The dog, see what I just did? Dog thing still dogging her. Okay. Really, to be honest with you, a lot of people have never heard of some of these folks. 24 to 34% have never heard of Bondi. Besant, Hegseth, Patel, Gabbard, or Noem. Kennedy, 6% said never heard of, and Rubio, 14% are better known. But that doesn't matter because what matters is what the Senate is going to do, and they're on track, I think. Overall, 47% approve of the job Trump is doing on picking his cabinet, 50% disapprove. That's pretty equal. Similarly, when it comes to Elon Musk serving as a close advisor to Trump, 47% of voters approve, 57% disapprove. But you know what? That's within the margin of error. It's 50-50. As I say, it's a 50-50 country. Couple of quick stories that I think are important. I love this story about Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She sent a letter to the incoming Trump administration and said, look, I want you to do something about SNAP benefits. If you don't know what SNAP is, I mean, it means that if you are, at a certain income level, you can get SNAP benefits to buy food so that you don't go hungry, your family doesn't go hungry. The problem is there are very few limitations on the kind of stuff that you can buy with SNAP. And so what if you've ever been to a grocery, you may have seen it. People are paying with their SNAP card, and they're buying a bunch of sodas and junk food. She wants that to stop. She says, look, I want you to get on with, making sure that if money is going to be spent, taxpayer money is going to be spent, let's make sure that we're doing it with foods that are healthy and not processed, unhealthy, sugary junk food. I think that makes sense. I mean, I very much don't like government getting into the people's individual choices. But this is federal money, and it ought to be used to make sure that people are buying food that actually provides nutrition for a poor family. Fruits, vegetables, meat, fish, that kind of stuff, Do what would be healthy rather than just run up obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and hypertension, and a wide range of chronic health conditions for Americans. 1/3 of the people in the state of Arkansas, she says, suffer from diabetes and prediabetes, and 40% struggle with obesity. 50 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock. Grace Point Healthcare, affordable, convenient, and comprehensive medicine. That's what they do. Basic smart care plans there. This is a good deal. For $69 a month, you get free office visits and free basic labs and diagnostic tests. And at Grace Point, you're usually seen the same day or the next day, and there are no long wait times in the waiting room. Grace Point can be your primary provider that treats the entire family, from newborns to seniors. When you get to be a certain age, hormones begin to fluctuate, taking a toll on your lifestyle. Grace Point provides comprehensive hormone testing and treatment for both men and women. Grace Point is a military veteran-owned practice located in the heart of Franklin. Here's the number, 615-599-6868, to schedule your next medical appointment. Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way.